Being wrongly reported that I think we should boycott this song of the summer. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I refuse to sing that song, but either you know what it is or you don't. And if you don't, you can go find it. It's very easy. But I don't think we should boycott. What I want is to see people understand the power of words and music and to make choices that are healthy for them. That's what I want. Do I think it matters what I want for people? No. I have finally learned that it doesn't matter and that there's no amount of sacrificing my life force energy that is going to make anybody want anything better for themselves. All I can do is emanate what I emanate, stand for what I stand for, and hope that it reaches who it's meant to reach. And that's it. And that's all I'm going to do. And so my comment makes it very clear that I don't think we should boycott. My comment is tantamount to everybody doesn't want the same thing. And there are a lot of people who are saying it's just a song. Well, if that's what you think, enjoy. But what I know is that music has power. But of course, I have used that power to help some people, and I have traveled around this world twice, and I see the impact of what we export out of the Black American experience to the rest of the world. Longer story for another time.
India Arie make music for ugly people. Carisha make music for bad bitches. They not even in the same race. Carisha make music for bad bitches who need to borrow $40 into the first. Bad bitches who used to be shaped like Adrian Broner before they got their BBL. Fake bad bitches. But the CIA got us though. We love some low vibrational shit. Anything. Carisha make music for bad bitches who go to the baddies audition and fight when they got a CPS case already.
I can't believe it's bitches on the internet trying to disrespect India Arie. We just gonna stop it right there. Who gives a fuck if y'all like that fucking song? The song is glorifying scamming and stealing, and y'all are fucking singing that. For a second, how about you think about how it makes us look as a fucking people that we're singing songs about glorifying, and then y'all trying to do a game for game like the male rappers rap about blah 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 blah. The song just leads to a bigger conversation. All of that shit is bad. Not one is worse than the other. Carisha's song ain't worse than what the fuck the male rappers and said. It's the same fucking thing. All that shit makes us look like fucking terrible. A bitch stole a purse so she can go on TikTok, make a video to the song with the purse she sold, and got locked up. And then there's a bitch on TikTok teaching young women how to get a trick, or telling them pull up to Miami so you can get a trick. Selling these bitches. So it's less about the fucking song and more about how we look as a fucking people. Don't you fucking think? And y'all got
all right. Welcome everybody to another episode of Ask a Brother podcast. I'm your host, Jeff St. James. And we got quite a few fellas in the building. We have the usuals, Darwin McPherson, Dave Anderson, of course, and we got True back as well. And we have none other than Mr. Philosophical himself. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, fellas? Peace.
How y'all all feeling, bro?
Good.
Oh, yeah. Well, for starters, man, this song has been, blowing up for the last few weeks or so, and I think we all agree that it would make sense for us to kind of have this discussion as to the gravity of what this song means, and are people being hypocritical because of all the male artists that push a whole lot of other things that people tend to, I guess, not have apparently this same type of energy for, or is this something else going on? So from your vantage point, what do you guys think so far as the song, how it's being played, who's listening to it, and is it even anything wrong with it altogether? What you guys think? And Illa, since you are our guest, you can actually start us off.
Oh, okay. What's going on, fellas? Dave, first time being on the panel with you. Peace, what's going on? All right, we already know what's up. What's up, sir? True, what's going on? But yeah, I think people are missing a point. As long as there's people, there's going to be the dark side of life and things, vulgar things being discussed. I don't think it's the shock of what's being spoken of. I think it's the timing, and I think there's no balance today. Like I Googled earlier, I did some little research, and I looked up, because people brought up other songs from different eras, but they don't realize at the time those songs came out, there was songs that counterbalanced that. There is no balance now. So the timing for this song would make much more of an impact when we're always inundated with these type of songs. You got to think, we just came off of the Carmelo Anthony controversy. We're always in this space where we're trying to validate or justify our humanity. And then we turn around and pedestalize dehumanizing concepts. And yeah, there's been songs like this before, but real quick, 92, Me So Horny came out. But you know what also was out? Fight the Power. Brenda's Got a Baby. Mind Playing Tricks on Me. They Reminisce Over You. There was a balance. In 93, 97, Ain't No Fun, The Homies Can't Have No. We also had Dear Mama, Keep Your Head Up. Heaven and Hell. 90s, we had late 90s, we had Big Pimpin', we also had Delight, Respiration, Miss Jackson. You know, there was a balance then. There's no balance now, so these songs have even more of an impact. And I feel like so many people are socially tone deaf to the timing and the misrepresentation of things that we rally around. You know what I'm saying? So that was my take on it.
I actually appreciate that, because Crimson Cure kind of said something similar about that balance missing in terms of what the media execs are pushing. Because basically, it's like you said, we had different options to choose from, and it wasn't all centered on, like you said, criminality, scamming, violence, and everything. There was a whole variety of things that they were pushing. And you're right, I don't almost hear any rap music that trends that's not like super degenerate at this point.
Like, what's the song that balances this song out? You know, what balances the energy with this song? You know what I'm saying?
I actually agree with you. And real quick, before everybody else kind of jumps in and gives their initial thoughts, we got a super chat already. Super B Maze, appreciate you for the 25. And everybody that's currently watching, if you haven't done so, please make sure that you like, and thank you, Super B Maze, for the 25, for sure, to start us off. Make sure you hit that super chat button if you have any questions, comments, or just want to show love and support to the platform and the brand. And make sure, everybody, that you send this to at least 2, 3, 4, or even 5 people, because I think this conversation is going to be good for sure. The rest of you guys, man, what do you guys think about this song, how people are reacting, responding to it? Is NDR a rewrite? Are the people reacting negatively to her right? Is this an issue of free speech? Where are y'all at with this?
I think it's an audience for it. I think the reaction you're getting is the people who subscribe to it. I don't have any reason to believe that the music is causing people to make these choices that was articulated in the lyrics. I believe that the behavior came way before the lyrics were written. I think a lot of women are trying to absolve themselves from the innate behavior of that's outlined in the lyrics. They are already acting like that, and they're just trying to use music as the catalyst or the reason why they have the behavior, when we all know that behavior is you. It wasn't the music that made you do that. You was already trash. You was already scamming. You was already what's they call it? Boosting and all that stuff. You was already doing that. You didn't need a song to tell you to go do that. You already had it in you. And I think people are trying to absolve themselves from accountability by pushing it on lyrics. A lot of this behavior came long before the stuff was written, and I think I'm being repetitive with that point. But yeah, I mean, it obviously the music is bad, but it's subjective. I mean, some people find good in it, and I think we're starting to come into an era where things are becoming more and more subjective, and the more people get away from morals that we all used to mutually agree on. So you just gotta look at it more objectively, so you can try to understand people. People just I'm in Atlanta. It's a great deal of people that make a living off doing that. I don't know where y'all are from, but Atlanta is like a scamming city. So I'll yield on that.
Yeah, and I want you guys to definitely jump in and respond to what Darwin just said about because it kind of sounds like, Darwin, you don't think music has almost any effect at all in terms of shaping culture. And I don't know that I doubt that the propagandists and the people who spend these multi-million-dollar signing deals are doing that because they don't think it's influential. I think it's because they probably are investing in something that they believe does work to a degree. And the other thing I was noticing is when you're seeing like kids like this reacting and responding, I wonder if there's a level of desensitization when it comes to the criminality, the scamming, where a lot of them may not be doing it yet. But when you're singing about it, it's normalized. It's seen as just the thing that your most, the trending person that's currently popping is normalizing and doing. I do wonder if that kind of plants the seeds for further exploration in those areas. Now, again, I wouldn't put it all on just the music, the environment, the parenting, stuff like that. I do wonder for sure if music has at least some percentage of potential influence, especially when a person is younger. Darwin, you can respond to that, and then others can kind of jump in.
Yeah, I will say it has an impact on, I don't think it has an impact on the behavior like we think it does. I think those kids listening to it, I mean, I was a kid before. I listened to some of the most degenerate shit when I was younger. but it didn't make me want to go out and grab the blicky and run up in nobody's house. I would say if I would have saw it in real life happening, just like it was played out in the song, then I would say the likelihood of me wanting to go and do it would increase. But I would say that a lot of people who listen to gangster music and try to be a gangster, I mean, you expose yourself to be fraudulent, not really be down with the streets. And the ones who are actually participating in the criminal activity or gang related or even scamming are the ones who actually been directly exposed to it and willing to live up to the consequences of doing it. But young kids are listening. I mean, I've seen young kids. We've been listening to this shit. Black people listen to this all shit all the time. I think the great deal of impact comes from actually being exposed to it in real life, not necessarily the lyrics. The lyrics, again, the lyrics is something that comes after it. I think people are voicing the activities that's taking place in real time in real life. And then when people listen to it, they're like, oh, so now you want us to go do that? No, people were already doing that shit. We're just articulating what's happening in the streets. I would argue even when NWA came out, when they were saying fuck the police, they were saying that because of it was a reactive energy coming from what was taking place in the streets between them and the police. It wasn't necessarily them just conjuring something that they wanted you to go out and do. You know what I'm saying? It was already taking place and they were putting it in the music. That's what made the music so profound because people would ever relate to that. Yeah, that shit happened to me. I got pulled off. It's all this stuff existed. And what people are trying to do is saying they're trying to reverse it. Hey, none of this shit existed. Once you made that album, now it exists. I don't believe in that.
What are you about to say, Illa?
I see what you're saying, but I think this depends on who hears it. Because as a child, when I heard certain songs, I didn't understand what it meant till I got older. So it could either do one or two things. It could either make you wait, you realize this something I don't understand, or it can make you inquisitive to want to know. A child does not know what a scamming ass nigga is. They can know now because now they hear the terminology. Now they see it's perpetuated by adults. So now it creates the curiosity to even know what that is. So depending on who's around them to say, hey, it means this type of degenerate person, or it could be somebody that validates it. So I think it's not just about, oh, it's been happening. It's about what's being perpetuated to young people and being justified by adults. You know what I'm saying? And I think when you see footage like we just saw, all these children, they don't know what this means, but they're singing it. They say the idle mind is the devil's playground. And a great point that Jeff made is whether we think something is one thing or whether we think it's valuable, or whether music is influential is one thing. But the people that have millions of dollars and invest in this type of advertisement, it's for a reason. And it's not just for money. They print money. So it's not just about the money. They literally can make it up. They making up currencies every day. It's for a reason. And it's to distract and to misrepresent a people and to dehumanize you. That's what I think.
If I could respond to that real quick. I understand what he's saying. I'm just disconnected where the lyrics, I haven't looked at the lyrics in depth to know that they actually articulated behind the meaning behind scamming. I did hear where's my scamming niggas at, but I'm not sure if the kids got the layers behind it so they can know exactly what it means. I still think that
you're right, but now it's being introduced to their mind.
Right. Yeah.
It's like a child. A child don't know what what is if they talking to them about different intimate behaviors.
So I agree. There's a step that has to take place
in their mind. Now it's something to think about. Now it's something to ponder. So it's like they don't have even then. We know what it is, but a child.
And that's making my point. Even then, you still have to go in real life. Now you got to go find out what it is, and that means that you got to go be exposed to it. And if you're around people, scammers and stuff, they can articulate that. Or I don't think that a young kid is going to listen to it and like, oh, okay, what's scamming? And then go to his parents to find out what scamming is, and his parents articulate it. Now you would have to actually go out into the streets and still deal with that. And I'm still I'm not going to say I'm on the fence. I still fundamentally believe that a lot of these, I believe these kids know what it is. I believe these kids in 2026, know what scamming is. All those kids that was in there, they know what scamming is. That's just my personal opinion. I can't prove it. I can't confirm it. but just based off of what I've been able to observe in my life. And as a kid, I knew what a lot of my parents used to think I was what I think I was 8, 9 years old. And they were smoking crack and all this other stuff and doing all this stuff around me. They thought I didn't know what that was. I knew exactly what it was, but I kept my mouth shut. And I think those kids also know what this shit is.
So some of the lyrics real quick, just to read off for people who haven't really like looked in on the song. I'm just going to read off a little bit. It says, where all my scamming ass ninjas at, where they at? Spending that money fast, 20s, 50s, 100s cash. Boy, go get that go yard bag. Boosting bitches, where y'all at? Stuffing that shit in y'all bag. Scroll for further. Spend that ish. Ninja, spend that ish. I like a gangster ass ninja making more than 10 figures. Yeah, I'm a down ass B riding with you in the splat. Only F with the hitters for his girl. He a tricker. Call his trap phone. Pussy ninja, where you at? Hanging out the drop, screaming F the cops. What we doing, ninja? What's your face card? And where my scamming at? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, so those are in essence the lyrics. And I definitely am going to play a clip soon. And True and Dave, I want you guys to come in now, but I'm going to read the super chat real quick. And again, anybody who just came in the last 15 minutes or so, please make sure that you like the video, that you share it with at least 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 5 people. Let's get these numbers up. And let's make sure we get the likes up, especially because a lot of people tend to watch and forget to like. P5 Man Podcast, thank you for the $5. The Bible tells us, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. The music is not making anyone do anything. It is all about the choices they make. That kind of goes to Darwin's point. And, you know, like I said, there's going to be a clip that I'm going to play in terms of the studies that's actually been done surrounding the different hertz that's used, especially with urban music and specifically hip hop music, and how studies have reflected how it does have a significant impact on a person's overall psychology and internal brain chemistry. True and Dave, what y'all thinking?
You know, I want to take a different approach to it. I like the response the community is having, and I'll tell you why. Because I believe that there's a shift occurring for all of us who grew up in the inner cities. We all know that there was a very subset of people actually active, doing things that were really about that life. And I think what has happened, I would say probably the last 20 years or so, because of the advancement of how we live, is most of the kids are living more of a suburban experience, in my honest opinion. It just, we have our issues, but I don't think that there's really a lot occurring about being, you know, about that street life. I think that jail population is subsiding. I think that music and things of this nature is helping to usher in more of the next class of inmates. And our as a community tells me that we as a people are starting to really hold each other accountable to the standard that I think has always been there, one of excellence. We ain't about the nonsense. We about productivity. We about excellence. But there is a subculture who wants to hold a narrative that is negative, the boosters, the scammers, things of that nature. And so that's what I'm kind of seeing, is that I think that the music execs and, you know, for, like you said, the popularity as far as profit and whatnot, I think that they're doing this to recruit the next phase of the inmate class, because, you know, we the old heads now, we the unks, we the aunts.
Nah, that's Dave and Darwin. I ain't no uncle, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. that ain't me and Illa, bro. That's not we the unks. That's crazy.
I just think that there's a transition occurring. There's just more of an elevation, at least in my opinion. That could be me being optimistic, but as far as I can remember, being in a certain zip code didn't mean you was really about those activities. And right now, these kids are not really about them activities, not on a real front street. I mean, if you watched the prom just a couple months ago, they laced and dripped, you know. So I think that this subset of the community is just the next recruitment of inmates, and the executives and all the powers that be are going to make sure that they fill those walls because it's a profitable business. And I'll land.
What do you, Dave?
Okay, I'm going to need a little latitude on this. Quick. First of all, fellas, good to see you. L, always love your work. Now, show of hands, because I don't know. How many people on this panel have programmed radio in major markets, minor markets? No. Okay. How many people on this panel have had a major label or record deal? Just me again. So
this damn flexing. Get to your point.
No, I'm not flexing because I need to qualify this, because what Darwin is saying is very anecdotal. And I like that. I think that's cool. But when you rely on your own experience, you're discounting 8.9 billion other people. Having said that, I will say this. There is, and I'm with Philosophical on this, from a professional 3-decade-long career that has produced 5 Hall of Famers. I will tell you, everything you think is a random occurrence is planned, plotted, and completely scripted for your destruction. You can argue with your mama, but you're not going to argue with somebody who was old enough to have an FCC license during the Reagan administration. Now, to say that music does not have an effect. Now, keep in mind, I am a person that is also a recording artist. And so my voice is a little shot. So you'll want to bear with me. I'm not at top form in my throat. But if I were to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you know what I'm talking about, correct? Is there anybody here who does not know where that comes from?
Alex, you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, wow. That's from Sesame Street. But again, you're a child and I'm pumped. So it's okay. That was done by the Pointer Sisters. There's a reason that music is used. If you were to watch horror movies, or 1, 2, Freddy's coming for. Oh, by the way, show of hands. How many people have DJ'd, ran, owned, or managed strip clubs? Oh, just okay. There is a reason that the lighting is a certain way. There's a reason certain songs come on a certain way. There is a reason that when you program a radio station at night, you have the quiet storm. Because music gets you in the mood. When you're in the gym, what do you hear the most of? Hard rock and hip hop. You want to know why? Because it amps you to go into Iron Paradise and start clanging and banging and clanging and banging. Now, to sit here and say that there's no effect because it was already here is a bunch of Babbitt's respectfully bullshit. When you understand that these companies, the majority of the 6 majors that we're talking about, and I don't need to name them, you all know what they are, and you can Google this when you've got nothing better to do, are heavily invested in private prisons. They're in league with the so-called Department of Education, and everybody gets a take. When you're 3rd and 5th grade, that's why if you look at any testing, I homeschool my youngest child, okay? She's on the 9th grade level. She's 11, but they make you take a test in 3rd grade. They make you take a test in 5th grade, and they make you take a test in 8th grade. And the results from your 3rd grade test determine how many prisons they're going to build in the next 10 to 15 years. What's the quickest way to make sure that I turn a profit? Hi, entrepreneur, business consultant here. Yeah, I want to make sure that I hedge my bets. How do I hedge my bets? I hedge my bets by making sure I put away all of the positive music, all of the positive self-imagery. Take music off the table for just a second. Behind me is a poster of Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger, right? From a movie called Black Panther. In that film, you had Chadwick Boseman arguably give the greatest performance of his career. Not discounting Thurgood Marshall, not discounting him as Jackie Robinson. But that performance was so massive. It was the first time in my lifetime that every single body in the diaspora was celebrating and wasn't nobody talking about any difference. We were all celebrating that man's performance. There have been 19 Supermen, 33 Batman, 3 Spider-Man on major motion pictures, 1 Black Panther. You want to know why? They made sure they killed him right after he died. because the impact that somebody has on our self-image will determine how we rise. That's why when Fight the Power was the #1 record, and a couple of years afterwards, you saw those riots happening, Reginald Denny, Rodney King, all that type of stuff. There is no balance because the Bellori family don't want no balance. Jimmy Iovine didn't want no balance. And that demon that just went to hell, Clive Davis, didn't want no balance while he partied as Whitney Houston lay fermenting from 3 o'clock in the afternoon till 3 o'clock in the morning because Clive said, well, Whitney wanted the party to go on. And having been signed to a label that was overseen by that man, I can tell you he's a demon. So when you discount all of those things and just say, oh, well, it's just in there boosting, then you have a sex trafficker. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I say that? I don't have your editors take it out, Jeff, but it's the truth. Because wasn't she rocking with Diddy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Isn't it a fact that her mother, not that long ago, got out of prison for scamming and scheming and boosting?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess life does imitate art, or art does imitate life then. She is the perfect puppet. I'm sorry. Perfect Ken. I'm sorry. Perfect sucker. I'm sorry. Perfect artist to promote this. And yes, I understand. Well, what about all the other rappers? You're focusing on the rappers, but you ain't focused on Leo Coleman when he got on the Breakfast Club and said, well, you know, I got to eat. When he invented the 360 deal, he started eating, which means that wherever you go, whatever you do, your name, your image, your likeness, your email list, your website, any tour money, anything you do, they get a piece of first. So in 2000, I had a co-host, and we had a song called Drag a Nigga Out the Club and Just Stomp His Ass. It's still banned in North Carolina to this day. Don't tell me music don't have an effect on nobody. If music didn't have an effect on anybody, why did Celine Dion make so much money off of My Heart Will Go On off the Titanic? Why did Whitney Houston take a dead Dolly Parton song and made it the #1 song because of the soundtrack of The Bodyguard? And people was crying, it was playing at people's weddings, so on and so forth. You have got to be either intellectually disingenuous or culturally unaware as to how this system works. And last I checked, I'm sorry, how many record companies do Black people own? Don't worry, I'll wait. Miss me with the bullshit. Have an honest conversation. And if you don't know what you're talking about, take 5 minutes, take one of these phones that has more information in it and more computing power than every single manned space mission before I was born, before you open your dick suckers and start talking about what it means when this music is out here. And I yield. I stay quiet for 22 minutes.
Illa and Darwin, I want y'all both to respond to that. What y'all think? True, you can jump up in there too, because that's go ahead. Illa.
I mean, who want to go first?
Go ahead.
I'll go first.
All right, go ahead.
I appreciate Dave's credibility, speaking from integrity. Shout out to him, man. And I think for these conversations, that's the most important. Actually, I think we should have led with him since he was and I think that's the reason why he kind of pointed out his accolades, because he was smart. Like, why the fuck y'all didn't just lead with me? But
no, I wanted to lay a pattern. I wanted to just make sure that we understood that I wasn't talking out of my ass.
But I just want to speak to what you said about music being planned and plotted. I totally agree with that. I believe the people who configured this, the music, had to know that people would, what they would do. They had to know that they would facilitate, what's conveyed in the music. They had to know that, okay, if we put this music out, do we already know that these people can we get an increase in crime rate? Can we get an increase in scamming and boosting, whatever that is that's in the music? I think that, they had foreknowledge of that. And the reason why I say that, I think they would have had to study the demographic enough to know what they would be influenced by. I think those who push the agenda through the artists and the music has perfected the craft of knowing what will hit, what will influence decisions and what will fail. And to take it off my anecdote, because I know you mentioned anecdote, to take it away from that, I like to draw a correlation to my content creation. I was on YouTube. Eric and everybody know that on this panel, but those in the chat who don't know, I was on YouTube. So, and I did pretty well before it kind of went left. But what I learned in these masterminds is when it comes to producing and uploading content, let me just say this. I believe I do the same thing these guys behind the industry do. And I study people I think they study people like I study people like an algorithm, like the YouTube algorithm when it comes to if y'all are content creators, y'all know what I'm talking about. And again, I do believe it has an impact, but not without already having access to behavior patterns that exist before the music. I don't see any way to believe it otherwise because of what I've been able to do on myself. I need to know, I have to be able to study a graphical representation of behavior patterns in order to curate my content to take off and get views, likes, engagement. I don't think the people who are pushing an agenda through music and not doing anything different than that, they would have to have a rundown on this demographic. And they would have to be able to study their behaviors to do that. And I think that is what they're doing because they're investing so many millions and billions of dollars into these artists just to go and throw shit at the wall. I don't think that's the case. I think they already know based off of just studying the black man and the black woman. And I believe the women who are signing up to push this music, you get to say, I mean, people get to say what they get to make music about the things they like and enjoy. It's sad to say, but people like doing this shit. And this is the era which you get to come up behind a microphone and express what you like, regardless of its degenerate behavior. And women, I mean, I don't know why. I don't know if we touched on it, but women like a man who's a criminal, especially our women. Black women like criminal activity, like the guys who scam, drug dealers, and all this other stuff. They like it. We've had these conversations, acknowledged they just like it, and it is what it is. I'll just yield from there because I don't want to take up too much space on this point.
Can I just give a quick little clarification? Respectfully, the music industry loses $0. And when I say that, I need to be clear. 92% of signed artists never see the light of day. All of them get an advance. I've never seen anything less than $100,000 advance given out. If somebody's got less than that, it's rare. So if you're signing on average 100 to 200 artists a year, and 92% of those artists never see the light of day, that means only 16 will chart. 16 will produce something viable. You know why they can spend millions and millions of dollars throwing, as you said, things against the wall? Because it's all a write-off. They're going to make their money back. So that's why they can do that. And then the other part of that is when you understand how the behavior patterns have existed, to your point, you can also understand the quickest way to destroy somebody is to do it without them realizing it's happening. That's why you got so many people. That's why, what did RFK Jr. say? Well, you gotta understand that when you talk about the cereal with the colorings and the dyes and the different things in it, Mr. Trump, why is it happening? Because if you're eating Fruit Loops and you're just loving it and you're not realizing that you're poisoning your body, you're not paying it any attention. And then after a while, over time, a couple of generations, it happens. When you and I were kids, we could drink from the hose, the HOSE, want to be clear, the garden hose. Now you wouldn't dare drink from a hose either, HOSE or HO, never mind. So there's a difference in that. But what happened in the past 25 years that didn't happen when we were kids? Oh, that's right. The bottled water industry took off because when I was a kid, Perrier came in glass bottles, and that was pretty much the only bottled water you can get. Why is it with 800 billion gallons of water on the planet that we're just not drinking the tap? Why is it that Brita makes hundreds of millions of dollars a year on filters? Because the industry has created an environment where if you make the water undrinkable, your only other option is the water that they sell you. So if you take all the positive music off the shelf and you've got a vested financial interest in making sure that music is debaucherous, not because they just sat up there and studied Negroes. What did J. Edgar Hoover say? Oh, the two biggest threats to America are the rise of a black messiah and black unity. How do you break up black unity? You sit up there and tell people their men are scrubs. You sit up there and say that, oh, I don't know. If your status ain't hood, I ain't messing with you. Better be street if you're looking at me. I want a soldier who's just going to stand up for me. Yeah, no. Nice guys, it's not that they finish last, it's that they don't fuck first. And that is a direct correlation to the music that they're listening to and the culture that is being perpetuated. Everything that you think is cool, I don't care what item you grab, from the shirt you're wearing to the shoes on your feet, has been decided by some white man in a boardroom, and you didn't even realize you were being programmed. I guarantee you ain't no bobos in your closet. That's how this goes. And if you don't think you're manipulated, you've been manipulated. Hell, Darwin, personally speaking, you know good and hell well that you said to me that one of the main reasons you went into the military, and thank you for your service, is because you craved that discipline that you didn't have as a kid. That in and of itself, the program it takes to get an 18-year-old child to be able to operate machine guns, heavy artilleries, be a gunnery sergeant, predator drones, and so on and so forth, comes from a very particular, specific set of instructions, parameters, and protocols. It is the same in the music industry, the entertainment industry, the food industry in our land.
Let me read a couple of these super chats real quick, and then Illa, you can jump in and True as well. Let's see what we got. We got Charles Butler. Thank you, sir, for the $5. Thank you, Kings. Blessings. Appreciate you. And everybody, if you have any questions or comments that you want to make sure that we do not miss, there's a lot of comments that's filling in. If you want to make sure we absolutely do not miss it, make sure you hit that super chat button for sure to show love. And make sure y'all are subscribed to every man that you see on the screen. Appreciate you, sir Sadiq, for the $10 as well. $10 holla. Then we got P5 again. Thank you, $5. Dave agreed. Yet it all starts with the choice to listen to the style of music with those messages again and again and again. Personal accountability.
As opposed to what?
I don't know. I mean,
I know. I'm just saying, like, as opposed to what? If I take away, let's face it. And then, finally, sorry, I'm gonna shut up after this. I promise. I'm gonna be quiet for another 20 minutes. This is the greatest organic marketing campaign this heifer could ever hope for. Because they keep pushing it. And by the way, where you see it on Media Takeout, Neighborhood Talk, Shake Room, Fox Soul, all the typical Negro rants and haunts. They're saving so much money on marketing. You don't need a street team no more. She is the street team, her and her coochie and her advocacy of Diddy. If in fact I'm the judge, I'm looking at her letter, a character letter about Diddy, and I'm saying, is that? No. Go off, y'all. Go
Black
off.
to the Future. Thank you for the 10. Dave's point. Remember in the early 2000s when every Crime Mob song was banned from black clubs because it would immediately cause a shootout. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
I come in the club, shaking my dreads, throwing these bowls and busting these heads. Okay, no, go ahead. No, it's fine.
And then Super B Mays again. Thank you for $10. Please extend this small gift of gratitude to Mr. Dave. And then who else we got? We got Edward Samuels. Thank you for the $10 as well. Dave is in rare form tonight. We're gonna keep that in mind. So you know, this ongoing discussion, and I kind of heard it a lot in the comment sections about whether it actually matters, whether it actually affects anybody, or whether it truly is as influential as some people are maybe claiming it is, including maybe India Arie. So I wanted to play this brief clip to see what you guys think about this woman. I forgot the commentator's name. I'll look it up later and post it in the description. And she kind of goes over a little bit of the cost of entertainment. So let's take a look.
Entertainment industry is teaching women how to become undesirable. And before you get mad, ask yourself this. Who benefits when women destroy their image? Not the woman, it's never the women. And before you type it, I'm younger than your favorite rapper. Okay, so now let's look into what's actually being pushed right now. Scamming, boosting, using people, treating relationships like transactions, being loud and reckless and calling it confidence. And it doesn't stop at the music. Women don't just listen to it. They start dressing like it, talking like it, posting like it, until the whole aesthetic becomes a personality they've built without ever choosing it on purpose.
Shit. Shit.
But here's where it gets real interesting. Young Miami, the woman who made an entire brand out of that lifestyle, has said plainly that she does not want her own daughter growing up to be a city girl.
Comes to you as pretty as she is and says, Mom, I want to be a city girl. She ain't gonna be no city girl.
So Summer ain't allowed to be no city girl?
No. I want her raised totally different. Like, you know, I don't even want her to even see the light of day like that. Like, I really want her to just be like, you know, like level-headed, a schoolgirl, and just on a whole nother ways. Like, you know, I kind of was raised different, so I don't want to raise her up how I was raised. So, you know, I'm a city girl, ain't nothing wrong with it, but I don't want that for my daughter.
Now just think about this for a second. The woman selling the image doesn't want the image for her own daughter. And now, in her 30s, she wants to get married, wants a husband, wants her kids to grow up watching something steadier than what made her famous.
Like, I didn't want to get married. Now I want to get married, you know? Like, I don't believe in marriage. I don't want to be nobody's wife. I'm 32 now. Like, at this point, I'm like, okay, I got 2 kids. Like, I do want my kids to experience mom and dad, or mom and someone else.
Because guess what? Eventually, life starts asking different questions than entertainment does. Entertainment rewards attention. Real life rewards reputation. One gets you streams and the other gets you trusted, hired, chosen, and built with. So my advice to you, especially if you are under the age of 30, because if you are over 30, you should have common sense. Stop letting people who are selling a fantasy write the blueprint for your reality. Your image is way too valuable to hand over to an industry that
That I listened to Juvenile's Back That Ass Up on repeat for most of my flight down to New Orleans because it's a spiritual experience. It does something to your body when you hear that.
Cash Money Records taking over for the 99 in the 2000s.
You know what I'm talking about. And that's what India Arie was talking about when people thought she was saying to boycott Young Miami's Spend That. What she was saying is that whether you realize it or not, music has the power to impact you on a really deep level. Like, you can love listening to Bad Bunny and not know a lick of Spanish because music is a universal language and can elicit profound emotional and cognitive responses. Scientists literally studied it. Researchers even found that listening to music you like increases blood flow to parts of the brain associated with reward, motivation, and arousal. The same parts of the brain stimulated by food, drugs, and sex. And that can be really beneficial. That's why, for instance, they recommend having babies listen to classical music because it helps their brain development. But imagine the other side of that. That's what India Arie was getting at. What if there are people who understand the power that music has and use it to have a negative impact? Like by, say, being vampires, sucking art out of a culture and using it to that culture's demise. That's what India Arie was talking about. But her point was not to boycott the song. It's about awareness, being aware of how music has the power to impact you. So yeah, I listened to Juvenile on repeat for most of my trip down to Essence Fest. But that was a choice because that's the energy I want to tap into. You get it?
Do what you do.
All right. 2 ladies who I think covered it from 2 different angles as it comes to some of the effects. And when it came to the second woman who talked about the neuroplasticity study that showed that music actually does impact a lot of different centers of the brain, and that these studies are not hard to find. They're really out there. And neuroplasticity, and one way to think of it is like commercials, any form of propaganda. What makes it propaganda is that it can influence for good or for bad. And propaganda is used in music, it's used in art, it's used in it's used in fashion. And I think that, you know, any of the I think it's a little bit, I agree with Darwin in the sense that it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. It's not as simple as everybody that listens to this is going to do this. But if you can guarantee 1 to 5% of them will, you can effectively shape and reshape a population. You don't need half of every participant to do something to see that it can have an effect somewhere. And then real quick, couple super chats. R2K, no heroes. Thank you for the $5. I met a woman who said she joined OF because she saw other women making millions. Everybody doesn't have the same mindset or intellect. And I will say, man, I think advertisers spend so much money because when they try to influence children and women for a reason, because they do believe that they actually are a little bit more impressionable. So, you know, the fact that OF is so normalized amongst the female population now, I think further adds to that. Willie MF Beeman, thank you for the $10. Good to see the brothers Philosophical Darwin and True on the same panel. Appreciate you, sir. And then last two, I weigh 20 skinny. Thank you for the $5. The sisterhood is bashing India Arie, but have no smoke for Luke or Trick Daddy disrespecting India Arie. I thought they hated misogyny. Whoa. We can actually talk about that as soon as we finish this last one. Thank you, sir, for the 5. And then also another for the 2. Women hate Diddy, but support Young Miami. Shake my shake my head. To be fair to Carisha, when you don't know what these people did or don't know, and you're just judging them by proximity, I think the best thing you could do is let the evidence come out and kind of determine what's kind of next. I think it's unfair that every single person that was ever connected to him probably knew everything that was happening. We don't know. Some people may have just went to parties and left. Some people may have left the party early. Some people didn't leave the party at all. And I think, lumping everybody into the same bucket may not be exactly fair. But back to this one. This whole concept of, anybody can say what they want to respond to, including this. But these men and women that are jumping out to attack India Arie, who's, I think her argument, and she kind of explained it, she's just pointing to our ability to choose for something better than to normalizing this, especially amongst our kids. I think that was her ultimate goal of kind of saying like we should at least want better for our children and not them being able to do this in front of. A lot of us grew up listening to this stuff, but I think most of us kind of figured we couldn't do it in front of most adults, including our own parents. And I think that the internet, social media, that's kind of gone for large pockets.
I got a question for you, Jeff.
Yeah.
When you played that video of that kid holding the purse, dancing in the middle, it looked like a basketball gym, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was that a school?
Yeah.
So do we hold the school? Do we hold the...
I don't think that was a school. I think that was like a skating rink or something. I don't think that was
I thought it was a gym. I could be wrong. I thought it was a gym. But
yeah,
I have seen videos of it being played on schools, like on stages. Like this is not
Sexy Red went to a school before, so I believe
this is not one of those.
So for example,
centers. The
reason why I'm asking that because let's say that is a school. Who's responsible? Is the artist or
I think it's probably above
the people who allow it to be broadcast to all of the students at the school? I don't think they had a permission slip from the parents.
Of course not.
They don't.
I
need
think
one.
it was just.
Not.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think you get what I'm saying. I don't think. I think that if that doesn't happen, or unless your parents is playing that shit in the car radio, most of those kids don't really hear that song. I mean, I can't even think of any way that my sons will hear some shit like that.
Bro,
they haven't heard it playing in my house or in the car.
If they go to public school or they have a cell phone, they're gonna hear it. And if they don't have a cell phone, everybody else does. This is not 2005. This ain't 95. And the ladies on the ladies panel, they kind of talked about it's way more difficult now in the age of the era of social media and the internet to try to protect your kids from a lot of this stuff because it's just harder. There's way more easier access to this stuff. Like for me, a lot of stuff I wanted to watch was inappropriate. I had to stay up late to watch BET Uncut. I had to be up late when everybody else was, and it took a while for and when we had the internet, it was so slow. I wasn't getting no joy out of sitting at the computer. So that's what I meant. Where it's like I think that with the two ladies we just watched, I think that it's a more subtler form of indoctrination and propaganda that can manifest again in terms of desensitization. I think the reason why so much of, and Darwin and Dave, you kind of said the inverse of, and I think they're both true. And Dave, you kind of concluded it. I think art tends to imitate life first, and then eventually life tends to imitate art. That's why when you see a big artist or athlete that's wearing something, now all of a sudden we're wearing certain brands. When Odell Beckham was big, all the kids was getting haircuts that looked at the mohawk thing just like him. When they see it on a screen, it's curtains. If the person is popping, winning, selling a lot of records, the trickle effect I think is a lot more massive than maybe we realize. True, And then and back to Illa. What y'all think, man?
Well, I think I was more in line with Dave because we kind of touched on very succinct points in regards to the recruitment of the jails and the profitability. And shout out to all his accolades, because clearly the man who has been in multiple rooms, with respect to that. But I'm in line with that. That's kind of how I seen it. We're having a response because there is, in my opinion, a transition. And to your point, it's not 1995. It's not even 2005. I think the issue is that if you really look at the weakness of the Black man, the only thing that Black men, in my opinion, are really overwhelmingly weak for is Black women. And they have continued to utilize as, ops. So because they're echoing anything that's quote unquote popular. I mean, the song Scrub was even brought up tonight, which was very prominent in dismantling a masculine man. It was to crucify his position in the family, was to crucify his standing financially. That is just a recurring message. So I think that there is some level of observation that the folks who are in power are seeing an elevation. We're actually speaking to psyche. We're speaking to positivity. We're speaking to accountability. That hasn't been an overwhelming thing in our community. And to the point, there was a balance. There's no buffer anymore. Back then, there was a Tupac, but there was also a Family Matters. There was an Urkel. So you always had a disparity. Right now, it is just ratchet. Like,
yeah,
there being anything else. And then even when the TV goes off, you don't really have to work that hard to see our image be misrepresented. Go to your local Walmart, go to a Target, Essence Fest, and it ain't always going to be us as the men, but we're connected to the women, regardless if it's our woman or not. I think that's the issue, and it's working flawlessly, unfortunately.
Illa, real quick, Skinny wanted you to actually respond to this question. In terms of the whole, especially the men that's been jumping out to kind of disrespect India, even speaking on this. What are your thoughts about the same group that screams misogyny for everything, having no problem attacking a Black woman, just giving her opinion on this?
Because first of all, it was a whole lot said that I don't want to take up more time, but there was so much said I wanted to address. But as far as these two guys, I mean, when they say the Black woman is unprotected, they're right. They just not clear on which one they talk about.
That part.
The intelligent Black woman who actually cares about Black men in the Black community, she's the most unprotected Black woman. When you're able to perpetuate nigga shit, they coddle you, as you can see. You got an intelligent woman in India Arie who has, a conscious perspective. She's being attacked by the same men that sat down with Kamala Harris. Not to get political, it's just coincidence. Not to say that sitting with Trump is any better. It just show you that it is all over the place. But they attacking this woman. She ain't saying nothing crazy.
She didn't.
You know what I mean? Yeah, shorty's from Florida, so we get it. But this shows you that they protect the belligerent. She's protected. She's pedestalized. But the woman who actually has see more than the woman's perspective is attacked. And on the flip side, same thing with men. If you're able to see things for more than just a man's perspective, men attack you too. But yeah, I think that's what that is. You know what I'm saying? It's just, the hood rat is pedestalized. But I like what Dave was saying. And I was smiling and laughing because I've been on these panels for a little while now, and a lot of sentiments that I speak be going over people's head. And it's just refreshing to hear people reiterate stuff that maybe I failed at articulating clearly, but I just feel like we're so caught up in our personal success that we don't understand that we're so far removed from what's going on that we have been convinced that our people are exactly what they are today, and they're not what you're seeing. You're seeing an illusion. And when I hear people speak, there's a big gap of consciousness in the Black community. You got people who just see it and just get it, and you got these other people who just so smart that they don't really. Something happened in the early 2000s. There was a gap there was like a consciousness or a consciousness portal open that got closed, and some people was there and some people missed it. I don't know if it makes sense to everybody on the panel, but to those out there in YouTube land, you know what I'm talking about. Some of us just missed that boat, and the best way to get there is people like me or others. But if you don't get it, this is it. This is it. This is like the last. Certain people that's willing to see this shit, this is the last, because there's so many people that they're just so inundated with the formalities of this world and this country that they don't understand that you're seeing the product of years and years and years and decades of a plan, and you're articulating it as if, oh, well, that's just how these people are. No, this is what these people were edited to become. So you're not even dealing with your people. That's like if you're playing, say we playing chess, right? We've been playing chess for 20 years. We've been playing chess as if it was checkers. And then we realize like, oh, somebody tell us like, yo, you know, this ain't the right, you're playing it wrong. Guess what? You never played chess in your life. What we have to realize is if you don't know what time it is, you're not even alive. And a lot of us don't even know what time it is. We don't know who we are to articulate what aspects of us are being affected, because you don't even know who the fuck you is. So I'm not going to get too deep into it, because Dave said a lot. It just was refreshing to hear what he's saying, because some of us are just too smart for our own good. And I ain't talking about nobody in the panel, Bruce. You know, my man. I'm just talking. We all speak for perspectives. I'm just saying, when I'm looking at stuff in the chat, it's like, it's not about, I seen somebody compare it to GTA. It's like, bro, it's not about saying that the song is going to change your life. It's about that no matter how far we are from antiquity, we are still dealing with forces who are going out of their way to dehumanize how we're perceived by the world. It's not about a kid hearing a song and acting like that. It's still somebody's paying for that song to be showed. Somebody's financing for that song to be displayed. You're still dealing with an antithesis of a conglomerate that's still fucking with your image. That's the fucking point. And motherfuckers just don't get it, and it just be crazy. It just be crazy. But shout out to Dave, you get it.
Nah, he said he wanted to come through, so I just sent him the link. I think he's going to join very shortly. He says, "Spend That is not a problem. It's just a song where old people."
It is a problem.
Tell us about GTA. Listen, when he come on, I'm
GTA
very
problem too.
Yeah.
There's all problems.
Listen, I got time.
They all problems. We just be sensitized to it.
This is, again, I don't know how many times. The only way, and Crimson said it accurately on Monday, the only way I can imagine that people think that nothing that's negative or nothing that is suggestive when you're putting LGBT characters in children's shows, right? When you're saying that representation matters and the person has to be black to look a certain way, when they're using certain slogans, when they're playing certain songs, if it hits, if it catches, if it influences, that is propaganda. So this because you don't think it works on you personally
that's irrelevant. And this my thing to you, Jeff. Because that argument is null and void. The argument is how come somebody that don't look like you have so much power on how you're projected? Because you don't have the power to do that to them. You don't have the power to put out images to shape how Europeans are viewed through the world. It's not whether you are affected or your child. It don't matter if nobody's affected, because if you look at the numbers, there's only a small percentage of black people who even live like this. Yeah. They're the minority of the minority of a minority. So they're not even a majority. It's about the power of perception, the power of the press, the power of imagery. So to hear grown men who's so accomplished and not understand this basic shit, it's just like, where the fuck are we? Because once upon a time, this was just known.
Yeah.
Well, I can answer that question about how are people who don't look like you able to have this impact. I'm not. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's not the question.
No, say that again. Say that again.
How are people who do not look like you able to have this powerful influence or impact on your decisions?
No, I didn't say that. Let's be clear. No. Have the power of how you are portrayed. In other words, they can make a film about black life that has nothing to do with you or have any control. You have no say what they're doing or not. That's the point.
So how
but that's
people
different than what you said. You said decision making. You see how? But I'm not trying to be funny.
No,
but
I said correct me if I'm wrong.
You see how fast the shit could get twisted up. We really don't be listening.
Why I said correct me if I'm wrong.
That could have changed the whole connotation of the conversation from that.
Well, that's the reason why
it's a whole different concept now.
That's why I didn't continue what I was saying until you was able to confirm that.
You were saying, but this happens in reality every day.
I get it, but I just wanted to answer the question, so I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't answering from a misquoted or a misrepresentation of what you said.
Mm-hmm.
So you said how people that look like us are able to, I guess, display our behaviors whenever they're not in us. And so
it's not how. We know they do. It's the fact that should be the conversation of the fact that that's still a constant. Because if we sit here and talk about it didn't affect my child, it didn't affect, we ain't gonna get nowhere.
I think
because it's still gonna happen. We're still gonna invest in you looking weird as hell.
And
over.
I want to throw this part out, Darwin. I don't know if you remember that part where at the beginning when we were first watching the various clips, where she was sitting down with Jason Lee and he said, about her daughter growing up. And she said, I would never want my daughter to be a city girl. And her and Cardi B, what I mean by this is Cardi B on camera shut everything down when her daughter walked in the room because she didn't want her to listen to her own music that she's sending to everybody else's kids. Young Miami is saying the very lifestyle she's promoting and has lived herself, she doesn't want her kids surrounded by the thing that she's actually putting out and promoting. So they know the effect so much so. And I'm like, this is no different than the female podcasters who build man bashing platforms, get married and do the exact opposite of what they're promoting to the public. So when call her daddy, so what I'm saying is they know enough to know to do the exact opposite of what they're promoting. They're just doing it because of the paycheck. So they know there's an actual effect. Like
right.
it makes
I don't
sense,
think nobody.
Right?
I don't think nobody's arguing that they don't know.
I think a bunch of people in this chat are saying there's nothing wrong with the music. It has no effect. It's just choices.
Well, I'm speaking to the part about Beyonce and what's her name, Carisha. I mean, not Carisha.
Cardi B.
Young
Miami.
It's obviously they do know the impact of their music on their kids, which is why they don't want their kids listening to it. I don't find
then why so many of the black people?
Because
again, I know why.
I think Jeff already answered why they make it.
We know why.
I would argue that it's the same concept. You can draw an intersection between the football player who suffers CTE. He's doing it for the millions of dollars, but if you ask him what I want my kids playing football, is probably, well, if you look at Junior Seau, who passed away, he a small portion of his life, he was going around schools warning kids about playing it. He didn't want any of the young kids to participate in playing football because of what it did to his brain. Yeah. So he finished his career, but what if you ask him, hey, do you want your kid playing football? He would say no. So I think it's the same concept. I mean, you can draw a similar parallel to people who make music, knowing that it's bad for the people who's listening to it, but would they let their own children listen to it? No. So I kind of understand that. I don't find
what I'm arguing. If we stick, Darwin, with your exact example with the football players, right, where some players can get concussions, some can get multiple, some can end up with CTE over time, and this discussion about what we're being exposed to and how we're being marketed to and about, what we're suggesting with the people who doesn't think it has any effect at all is this is the equivalent of Junior Seau and others coming out of the NFL and saying, hey, there's a lot of risk that comes with this. Some of the risks can include broken bones, not being able to walk again, severing your spine, having headaches, not being able to sleep, wanting to take your own life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then the people who enjoy the sport say, ain't none of that real. Ain't none of that happening. There are no side effects to this. And you're like,
yeah,
what?
I don't know about that part.
No, but what I'm saying, of course, it's an analogy, but the point I'm saying is the very people who are showing you evidence that it clearly has an effect and they're fully aware of it and they themselves are reaping either the benefits or the consequences of it. You have artists who are avoiding and trying to shield their own kids from the very music that our kids are listening to. So when people say this has no effect whatsoever, what I'm suggesting is the athletes are saying it has an effect. The artists are saying it has an effect. It's the it's a lot of the active participants and ticket holders and people who are purchasing who are convinced that these millions of propaganda machine, they're convinced that that's all just because, that it has no effect. Illa, Dave, and then True.
Yeah, the thing with this, it's not about always convincing and influencing our children, which it does.
Yeah.
But it's about convincing the world that this is who we are, because they have the power to. Sony is going to everywhere. All these labels have the power to touch every screen and every continent. And before they even can meet a Darren or can meet a Illa or can meet a Dave, they met Young Miami. So we got to just get outside of ourselves and just look at the bigger picture, because they have gotten outside of yourself. They take it so serious. So why do we take it so lightly? They make it up. They want it streaming. They want it on your timeline. It's on YouTube. They pushing it. And we like, well, some people like, nah, they ain't going that hard just because it might affect one or two of you. It's about changing how people view you as a whole. And I just think that we get so content in, well, that's just how things are. No, this is not how things is. It's just how they made it.
And and listen, Dondre Whitfield, when he was on, I remember he said like they removed all the positive black male role models on every sitcom. So the same time that's being removed, the same time the positive artists aren't being pushed by the labels anymore, is the same time they're pushing this stuff.
And real quick, I just want to add this real quick too, because I think when we make the sport correlation, it waters down it, because the different sports is something we all played, and you take on that risk to hurt. I mean, whether it's CT or whatever, they know they're playing a violent sport, and they're making generational wealth that can take care of their family. I think I get the metaphor, I get the analogy, but I think the impact of music is a lot stronger than a niche, because everybody don't play sports, but everybody listens to music. There's people who know music who never can name one athlete. Sports is a niche thing that is not as big as we make it seem, and they're abundantly rich. Music is a spiritual medium that they figured out how to monetize. But like I said, we gotta know who we are a little more, because we don't know who we are, and they do, and they like, yeah, you're just a regular person. They know you're not, and that's why they have specific ways to attack you, because you are specific. You're unique. You're not just like everybody. But that's another conversation.
I don't think that the correlation has to have the same impact to shed light on the point that I was making. I understand what you're saying, but if you just focus on what the parent wants best for the kid, if you just focus on that part, I think you can kind of understand what I was saying with it. Now, I do agree that music hasn't, you know what, I'm not going to even say I haven't really studied music in comparison to the NFL to make a determination that music has a bigger impact.
I mean, you don't think that's
I think I think it compete with, I think the NFL can compete with music.
You think, hold on. You think Michael Jordan has a bigger impact on the world than Michael Jackson?
Never.
No, when you put it down to person by person, I think the scales.
I mean, they're huge. Michael Jordan is as big as it gets, but he's still as big as he is. He can never compete with Michael Jackson, because music is something that's palatable for most humans. Football is a niche thing. It's not a universal interest.
I haven't answered it yet.
Football is not a universal language. Music is.
Well, let me respond to what you're saying.
All right.
Let me give you an answer, and then I'll respond. I believe Michael Jordan does have a bigger impact than Michael Jackson. That's my opinion.
How?
I believe that's just my personal belief. I believe that.
Let him explain.
We can talk about how, but I can explain you how in a minute. I think whenever you start doing artist and athlete, the scale is going to shift based on the nature or the impact of the athlete. So I think whenever you put it on the player, it changes things. But if you just put it on the overall industry, just music versus sports, I think now that's a fair competitive a comparison that we can talk
It
about.
still
But
don't add up.
I fundamentally believe we could talk about it, but I don't know if you want to roll down that rabbit hole, Jeff.
I'll
But
talk
I
about
do
it.
believe-
Hold on.
It's
I'll
not
talk
even
about
a
it.
rabbit hole. It's very easy. It's
Yeah, hold on.
not
I-
fair at all.
Hold on, let me just land. Let me just land with this. Let me just land with this. I believe that more kids from ages 0 to 17 are more likely to want to be like Mike than they want to be like the other Mike. That's just my personal opinion.
That's not the point.
Yeah.
Well, that's I don't
Number
think
one.
anybody can refute that.
No,
That's besides the point. Wanting to be like something and influence is something else. First of all,
well, I
most
think it's the
people
same
can't
thing.
play basketball. So most people can't do what Jordan do. But to sing or to dance or rap, that's more plausible or more relatable than running and jumping and like everybody can't
disagree.
do the extreme
And that's why I said it's become
music. Just on the
subjective.
strength of that alone, music predates sports. So it's an ancient interest. Football is a modern interest. Music is as old as time. So it's just not a fair comparison for sports. Like the NFL and Michael Jordan, like for example, Muhammad Ali, he's an athlete. Now he might be almost as big as Michael Jackson, but why? Because he did something that transcended his sport. I love Michael Jordan. I think he's the greatest basketball player of all time, but he never did anything that transcended his original role. Like there's a lot of people that's talented like Michael Jackson, but Michael Jackson's music transcended him just being a singer.
Listen,
hold on. Muhammad Ali did something in his life that transcended just being a boxer. Michael Jordan, I love Mike. He never did anything that transcended just being a basketball player.
I'm not arguing that. I'm
not saying
saying
you are,
that.
but you say he's bigger than Michael Jackson. He's more influential. I don't think.
This is what I'm saying. I believe, again, I'm going to state it again. I don't think this point has been refuted based off of what you just articulated. I don't believe that every kid from 0 to 17, I believe they're more likely to be exposed by Michael Jordan in some shape, short form, or fashion before they are Michael Jackson. That's just my fundamental opinion.
I think they're more likely to play basketball, but that don't mean they're more likely to be influenced by Michael Jordan. I think those two different concepts. Are they more likely to pick up a ball?
Well, I wasn't doing it in comparison to basketball. I'm doing it in comparison to Michael Jackson's music versus Michael Jordan.
It's kids that know Michael Jackson music never even seen them, bro.
Hold on, fellas, because we got a bunch of super chats I don't want to get out the way. And what's going on, Mont? Welcome to the panel. Technobility. WAP got Cardi access to the president. Meg twerking for votes at the DNC. White-run labels have reduced our culture to degeneracy. They'd never do that to the Swifties. Interesting. Thank you for the $10. We have Sean Boudin. Thank you for the $4.99. Someone said children and women are the most influenced and because of this are targeted. Please don't let that go over everyone's head. Yeah, I mentioned that in terms of marketing campaigns. It's well documented. It's a very open secret of who they target and why. And that's why most commercials are targeted towards them. And that's why when you walk in the mall, there's so few men's stores. This is not rocket science. Stacy Key, thank you for the $10. Thanks, Jeff. Great panel you put together. Side note, is it me or does Illa sound like FBA Maroon, a mod on Love's World panel? I don't
sound like whoever the hell that is.
I don't even know what Love's World panel is, but Stacy, thank you for the $10 nonetheless. We have Willie again. Thank you for the $5. When someone can only attack the analogy and not the point being made, we've got to understand what is happening in league. Willie, I'm not coming at my boy. I think he got everybody on the panel got the point I was making. It wasn't the cleanest analogy. It was just because it was used as an example. The cook gift. Thank you, sir, for the $10, of course. And thank you for the $5 as well. Never forget, the NFL owns the day of the week. The day used to belong to God. Even the priests wrap up the mass quickly on Super Bowl Sunday. Who else we got? Willie again. Thank you for the $5. Michael Jackson is the most famous human being named Michael. Michael Jordan said it himself. At first I was going to say, man, the funniest thing I was going to say with that is real quick. Outside of Jesus Christ in the last 2,000 to 2,500 years, there's a legitimate argument that nobody actually, including Muhammad, including emperors of Rome, including Hitler himself. I'm telling you, Michael is so big. I don't
Tank was it, man.
And
Look what he just did in this movie. He did.
And that's what I was going to say about the movie. If right now you put out a movie for the summer on Michael Jordan and compare,
They did
it. You don't even know the name of it.
Space Jam, and they did the shit to the speakers. Nobody's seen that shit.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you compare the global numbers of people that are going to have watched the Michael Jackson film last month and who would have watched the Jordan film, I'd be shocked if it reaches even 20% of the budget to be. Yeah, probably less than 10. I'm being dead honest with you. That's just because it's such a more global effect with Michael Jackson. It's not even, Lavelle E. Ross, thank you for the $5. You will kill someone for Jordan's, but no one has ever died from Michael Jackson's album.
No, Negroes will do it. People all over the world don't do that.
Yeah,
not to mention people
Negroes.
That's
an American.
Hold on. Point of order, real quick.
Yeah.
People have died from Michael Jackson's music.
And it's
go to anyone that passed out.
They had heart attacks.
People have had heart attacks and died at Michael Jackson concerts. But okay.
Well, y'all moved the goalposts on that one.
It's the truth.
I answered the question. That's a fact.
Dub Will $4.99. They are people around the world who don't speak a word of English that know the Thriller album word for word.
Bar for bar.
Case closed. And then Willie again for the $5. I wasn't talking about Darwin. I was talking about folks in the chat. Yeah. I don't know why. I have to realize that I have to stop using.
Hold on, Jeff. You said case closed. I don't appreciate y'all stealing the deal on this debate as if I lost.
You still the homie, but come on, we talking about Jeff.
Hold on.
Why can't you just take your sit down? It's okay. We all take
y'all. It's too many y'all to fairly win this debate without me even having a response to none of this.
I'm on your side.
It's Michael Jackson.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I'll make another point.
Contrarian and join the panel. What the hell?
You don't think Michael Jordan's bigger than Michael Jackson?
I will make one more point. I fundamentally believe that from the ages 0 to 30, that you're more likely to find some Michael Jordan socks, a Jordan headband, a Jordan t-shirt, something in the closet of a human being before you find some glittery gloves, penny loafers with some white socks.
No one's talking about merch sales. We're talking about the greatest.
Hold on. I got one point, and then I want Mon to jump in this conversation about any of the points that we've been having as far as this discussion. For the last 8 years, let's say right up until about 1 to 2 years ago, who was probably the most influential basketball player for youth, high school age and down that influenced and changed how the game itself is played? Michael Jordan or Steph Curry?
Steph Curry.
Steph.
All right, so hold on a second. Let me get this
y'all
straight.
moving the goalpost.
No. He's making me let him land. Let him land.
Let me just clarify.
Just can't take your L quietly.
In the very sport that you're talking about, that he's arguably bigger, he's done enough to be bigger than Michael Jackson in his own sport right now, in the very demographic you're talking about. There's a legitimate argument that Steph Curry has actually been more influential to you playing basketball.
You said he changed the game. See how you changed?
Yes, change the game. How they play the
argument.
game.
I don't agree with Steph, but it's definitely a strong argument.
Well, you're not arguing who had an impact on people.
There was nobody who could argue with Mike.
No, but what I'm saying is
you're arguing who had an impact on the sport, not on people. I still fundamentally believe Michael Jordan holds.
So let me ask you this, Darwin. What was Michael Jordan's
impact on people? And I still honestly believe that Optimus Prime is the greatest transformer. Don't make it true.
All y'all disagree with me except real. Why don't y'all let somebody push back on y'all?
No, I'm asking you a question, Darwin.
Hold on. I can't respond to one of y'all, but at a time. He tried to push in the claim that Steph Curry had more impact on people. No, he had more impact on changing the NBA, how the NBA game is playing by spreading the floor. I still believe Michael Jordan hold the torch for impact on people with his sneakers alone, not even his game.
All right, you did something real slick. You said ages 30 and under. The response to that statement was Steph Curry. And that is true because most people this day haven't even seen Jordan play. So that wasn't moving the goalposts at all. And then when he said that, then he changed it and said influence on people. No, we was talking about 30 and under.
I used that comparison to Michael Jackson. I didn't use that comparison to Steph Curry.
We talking
how y'all changing.
Hold on, let's take it one at a time. That was the Steph Curry, Michael Jordan shit. Now back to Michael Jackson. Wearing sneakers, that's consumerism. There's people that wear Jordans that don't like Jordan. I know people that wear his shoes and say, fuck Jordan.
Yep.
People who listen to Michael Jackson don't say that. They like him and his music and what he's talking about. Michael Jordan's clothes has become a fixture in mainstream society where you feel better about yourself by wearing it. Doesn't mean you have a connection with him as a person. So those are two different concepts, brother.
All right, hold on, because
let me ask a question because y'all stacking on me.
All right.
When I made the reference, and try to be honest if you can remember, when I made a reference about having clothing in your closet from ages 0 to 30, did I make that reference from Michael Jordan in comparison to Steph Curry, or from Michael Jordan in comparison to Michael Jackson?
I don't think you understand why Curry was brought up.
I'm just asking the question.
Like,
but that question
why was Curry brought up?
Because you misunderstood the previous one.
Yeah.
How are we gonna have a conversation? Y'all can't answer the question.
I'm just saying. I made know why Steph Curry brought into the conversation.
Hey, you a good listener. When I made that comparison from 0 to 30 of apparel in the closet, did I make that comparison to Steph Curry or to Michael Jackson?
You made it to Michael Jackson.
Thank you. So whenever y'all try to shift it to win the argument, I would agree that people from 0 to 30 have more Steph Curry stuff in the closet in comparison to Michael Jordan, but not from Michael Jackson.
But that ain't our argument either. We're not saying they wear his clothes. We're saying that they're more influenced by how he plays basketball.
I'm just exposing that y'all twisting what I'm saying in the argument.
All right, now real quick, we got one more super chat. Rakai Media for the $5. No one is dressing as Michael Jordan for Halloween or on Las Vegas Strip. And this is the crazy part. As a person who's gone to Vegas several times, there's Vegas shows of Michael Jackson impersonators. People can sell out shows just by dressing like him. People make money on the street of New York just by dressing and looking like this man. So, I think now, hold on. No, just to clarify, you've been quiet, you've been patient, you just got on. I want True, and then I want Dave to hop back in that order. Go ahead, Mont.
So real quick, I'd like to understand a little bit more about the argument. So the argument was that Michael Jackson is more influential across the world than Michael Jordan?
Yes. No, that wasn't the argument. Yes. They changed the argument. The argument was not that. And they're going to try to tell you that that's the argument.
What was the argument?
The argument was made from me. I said that I believe that sports is in a competitive can compete in terms of influence on people with music. They changed the variables to Michael Jackson and Michael Jordan.
Oh yeah,
y'all really saying no?
No, that's true. Because
I don't know if I can have this conversation. Y'all gonna do
that. That's true, dog. But the reason we brought that up is because there's a power in music that extends the field and the court of play. So, with that being said, if you are an athlete, to have an influence at the level of a Michael Jackson, you would have to do something that transcends your talent. And the only athlete that has done that is probably Muhammad Ali at the highest level, maybe a Jackie Robinson, maybe a Bill Russell. But Michael Jordan's influence is strictly performance on the court and his clothes. And I'm a Michael Jordan fan, but it's not something that he stood for that influenced people. Michael Jackson made songs that stood for things that transcended his wealth, his fame. He made songs asking people, what about the fucking trees? What about... That's a different kind of influence than just saying, hey, I can dunk. Hey, wear my shoes. Like, come on now. We're grown here now. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
So I'm reading off all these different chats of people saying, and it was like, and the one clear final determination out of all the different articles and stuff that was covered, it said Michael Jackson holds a broader global impact due to the universal accessibility of music, while Michael Jordan revolutionized global commerce, fashion, and sports marketing. So that's that's literally what Illa and I think all of us have tried to say is there's a universality component that he's and again, if he was born in another era, Michael Jackson would probably be treated like Elvis. But because he was born in the digital era where it wasn't just the music, but we can actually watch the music videos and see it, I think that's why he got the global iconic appeal, you know, that in that argument. Now, Mont, let's go to Mont and then True and then Dave. In that order, talk about anything y'all want.
You know, I was trying to think about this, the Michael Jackson thing, Michael Jordan thing. And obviously, yeah, across the world, I would say Michael Jackson probably got the nod, but I'm trying to understand Michael Jackson's actual influence. His music is timeless. My daughter's 7. She loves Michael Jackson. Like I bought her a Michael Jackson t-shirt. I bought her a little album thing. She cried and she's 7, right? But I'm trying to understand when we talk about influence of Michael Jackson, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are some examples of how Michael Jackson is making people move in their real life and behave and, you know, shaping behaviors and stuff like that?
I'm going to give you one example, and then I'm going to give the floor to Dave next, and then True, and then Illa, and anybody else that wants to speak. I'm going to give one example.
Damn, I'm just anybody else who wants to speak.
Because you wasn't going to give an example of why Michael is so big. So we going to set you aside. We're going to set you aside. That's why. I'm going to give my first example.
God is good, boy. They pause that nigga.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I'm back. The reason why
your screen froze though.
Yeah, I got you. The reason why. The reason why we're having this conversation about all these artists and the global image of the Black community and how these images are going so far and all these different what's it called, signing labels and everything. The reason why Black artists are even on the screen in the way that they are is because of Michael Jackson. Period.
That's it.
Man, I'm surprised we're even having this conversation.
Yeah, he was so big and massive that he was able to change the race rules when it came to his music video being put on platforms that was for non-Blacks, whites only. So he was the Jackie Robinson of just opening up the door for us to be permitted to be shown on television on certain entire wide. I don't even know how to quantify that for a second. Somebody was so big and so massive that they were able to usher in the entire race being able to get access to an entire new global market that was not available. So that there's a reason why no other artist was able to do that before him. So I think just on that merit alone, that's the gravity of the impact. People don't even know that the doors he broke down for them. And then the second thing I'm going to throw out, and then I want everybody to respond. Before Prince, before Taylor Swift, before all these different artists talking about all their issues with the music labels, he argued because and there was artists way before Michael Jackson who also had issues with music labels and them stealing their royalties and the whole nine. He was the first artist to be able to even compete at the level of a label, actually compete with them to take other artists' catalogs and return artists' catalogs to them almost for the first time. The man owned the Beatles. The man was competing with Sony. And again, the things he was able to accomplish, imagine if he was still alive today. If you look at his follower count, and if you look at the sales he has today, and the dude's been dead for what, 20 years now? 15 years now? I like, there's the things that he's outdoing artists dead. I don't think that people fully are grasping the totality of how big he is. Now, Dave, True, Illa, and then Darwin.
All right, let's break this down, and I'm going to move as quickly as humanly possible. First thing I want to say is that when it was time to help people throughout the world, the one thing that he did was help form a group called USA for Africa, which created something called We Are the World. Not only that, he wrote the song, and not only that, the reason that everybody was up from 2 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock the following morning was because Mike said come. That's one. Two, you are talking about somebody who was so massive that without social media, because it didn't exist, without an internet, because it didn't exist, magazines would sell out if Michael's face was on them. Newspapers would sell out if Michael's face was on them. Michael Jackson is one of the first artists to have a #1 record and a #2 record at the same damn time. And they would battle back and forth. He was fighting himself. That's how talented he was. Not to mention, there is no Chris Brown, there is no Dream, there is no Weeknd, there is no BS Justin Timberlake, there is no Usher without Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson basically made an entire genre of music when, in a time, he's the reason that they no longer call what you now know as urban music black music. Because he transcended it. Michael Jackson played on pop stations, rock stations. He wrote for damn near everybody. He was so powerful that Berry Gordy's own son was one of his best friends, and clandestinely, as a favor, did I always feel like somebody's watching me. And by the time the record hit the radio, Berry Gordy said, well, who's the kid that's on that song with Michael? Oh, that's your son. He's so powerful that even in his own death, he broke the internet. Michael Jackson is so powerful that he made TMZ a household name by dying. Michael Jackson is the reason. This man holds more world records than any other recording artist. He has patents for everything from set design to that whole leaning thing with the shoes. All that's Mike. Pyrotechnics, smoke machines, arena tours, beyond anything Elvis ever did. Michael Jackson not only owned the Beatles, because saying Michael Jackson owned the Beatles is like saying Dave owns a Versace shirt. It's insulting. I got a crap ton of them. Michael Jackson owned half of Sony. Sony had to pony up half of their value to get ATV, which was the publishing house that not only had Little Richard, the Beatles, Jimi Hendrix, and everybody the damn hell else. Michael Jackson was so powerful that when Eminem said, and that's not a stab at Michael, I'm just a metaphor, I'm just psycho, he went and bought Eminem's publishing. So every time Eminem sang a song, got an endorsement deal, anytime any of his music was used, Mike got paid almost more than Eminem did. Michael Jackson was so influential that there's no Timberland without Michael Jackson, but because before Michael Jackson, because Michael could not read or write music, he would beatbox everything and start giving people direction with his eyes closed as to how he wanted things played. Before Michael Jackson, people just stood in front of a microphone with a camera and sang their song, and that was their video. Michael Jackson is the only human being on the face of the planet, never before and damn near since, other than the president of the United States, that had every single television corporation in a chokehold when a music video premiered. And to top it all off, he just hit $1 billion at the box office. And when the Wayans decided to do a halftime show because they just had marching bands and things of that nature, the NFL said, oh, we're going to fix that. And you know what they did in order to make sure that they never had anybody ever turn away from a Super Bowl again? They went and got Michael Jackson, who magically jumped out of one Jumbotron into another Jumbotron and then flew off in a rocket pad. He is untouchable. And last and certainly not least, because I got into an argument with Touré about this, and Touré is a musty tether, but respectfully, he said that Michael Jackson had no influence on hip hop. So I went and found the engineer who engineered a song called This Time Around on the History album. Biggie did his verse and did not know Michael was going to show up. When Michael showed up, Biggie turned into a blubbering fool and said, "You're one of the greatest influences on me." So if the king of hip hop, baby, says that Michael Jackson is the greatest influence, how can anybody say that he didn't influence hip hop? So at the end of the day, there is only one. There will never be another. Period. Point blank.
Dave hit something, and I got to read these future super chats, and then I want True and Illa and then Darwin to jump in. And we ain't even gonna get the Big Tigger. We just gonna have to stick with what we staying on because we'll wrap up from here. It says Michael Jackson is widely considered the most famous person of all time because he achieved absolute global monoculture at a precise technological sweet spot in human history. They talked about how from his peak between the 80s and the 90s, that at his peak, him being the most famous human being on the earth at the time, with historical estimates, when they looked at cultural historians, they said that he was roughly known by 4.8 billion people. That meant 80 to as high as 96% of the global population in that time span knew who he was. Global television premiere. 91 black and white music video that premiered simultaneously in 27 countries.
I remember that.
Estimated 500 million people watching. I don't think there's levels to this. There's levels to this. So True, then Illa, and then Darwin.
You know, I'm gonna humbly bow out. I cannot follow that. Dave, literally, I can't follow that. There's nothing to follow. It was well said, and I land.
Illa, come on.
I mean, I second that emotion, but you know, I got something to say. I'm gonna say this though. You think you gotta ask white men age 25 to 40 the impact of Mick Jagger or whoever the fuck they let's do Phil Collins? The fact that we even gotta have this conversation, it's just crazy. I feel like this era has they devalue the older generation to a degree. I feel like they look at it as more a competitive thing, not realizing that we are one. That like it doesn't. James Brown walked so Michael Jackson could run. You know what I'm saying? Like there is no so Chris Brown could fly. Like there is no break in this. It's a continuance of greatness. And it's just thing like today, they just like, I heard they was good back in the day, but what's so dope about it? It's like, huh? Like we talking about Michael Jackson. Like you said, the question you asked was, what was his impact? His impact outside of the accolades, his impact was what he stood for in his music. First, he made songs that brought a consciousness to things that people take for granted. And when you do that as an artist at the height of your popularity, that says something about you. See, it's one thing to talk all that real shit once you older, like Jay-Z with the 444 album. He like 54 years old now. He done sold a lot of crack. You know, now he want to drop a jewel on you. That's cool. But when you are at the height of popularity, when you got the game in the palm of your hand and you choose to talk about something that is very common and not as glamorous, that says a lot about you as a person. And it's a short list of artists that did that, and Michael Jackson's on that list. So that's why he's influential, not just because of his money, because he was like with Michael Jordan, none of his sneakers, none of that stuff would matter if he wasn't a great basketball player. So what made Michael Jackson special was how he made people feel with the sentiments and the themes of his content in his music.
Darwin, if you don't mind, I just want to make a distinction. I hear what everybody's saying, right? But I think we're arguing how he was impactful versus how he was influential. And I just want to read something to y'all real quick. About impactful versus, influential is having the ability to change people's opinions, decisions, and behaviors. Impactful, producing a significant effect, result regarding of how it happened or whatever. I don't think you got to be that.
We just explained that.
Yeah, but so the small, this is the argument that I have. The small argument is that when it comes to the Black community specifically, I would attribute basketball and its effect on us to Michael Jordan. That's all. I'm gonna attribute that to Michael Jordan.
Oh no. Yeah. When you think of basketball, you think of Michael Jordan.
And
when you think of fame, you think of Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Now, when we're talking about basketball, I would argue, has the Black boys in a chokehold as far as when it comes to their career path and what they dream about being when they become an adult, right? I would make that argument. When I had hoop dreams too. We all had hoop dreams, right? Like that is if we could remove, right, black boys wanting to be athletes, right? I would argue and switch it with something else positive. I would argue that would make the biggest impact on our community versus anything else. Now, when we look at Michael Jackson, right, as far as influence and not impact, influence, I don't think he's actually influencing our youth on something as powerful as career choice and what we spend our time thinking about.
That's
I'm
crazy.
gonna try one more time to say it.
Can I
Hold on, let Mount finish.
Can I just respond? I'm sorry, this ain't my show. I'm sorry. I just want to respond just real quick, please.
And I understand how you guys are feeling in this moment, right? And I just don't want y'all to get tripped up on the emotions of it and the passion of it and being there. And I'm not saying that y'all are. I'm just putting it out into the air just in case you can catch it and be like, you know what? I am like kind of, I'm mad at because I want Saki.
See, that's
not that at all. I have a question. Hold on one second. When you said that we weren't sure if we're making a difference between influence and impact.
I just wanted to make the distinction.
Okay, so from a distinction perspective, when I mentioned how he opened up the doorway for black artists to be able to do music videos and them actually being seen, and number two, the way in which music videos actually changed, and that being an actual central component of actually selling your records.
That's not an influence, that's an impact.
It's both.
Nobody will remember that. If a guy come out into the music,
you remember.
It's both.
Can I say something, please? Can I?
You know how you hold on, dog. You know how you cut me off while I was talking? I'll finish it. Then you got it.
You did say the order was me at the Illa too.
So just to clarify, I agree with you, Mont, that there is a chokehold when it comes to fashion, and there's a chokehold for a certain period of time when it comes to career aspirations and whatnot. That's all granted for American blacks. And I think that we keep having a global conversation that's crossed 30, 40 years now from Jackson 5 on. And a movie just came out about him and cleared $1 billion, and he's been dead for almost 2 decades. And again, that's the gravity of where it's like, whether you want to quantify it by impact or influence, he got it. And I think that maybe people not knowing enough about his history and how he's influenced the very artists that they're rocking with today. Like when people are getting hype and spending all this money to go see Beyonce, to go see Usher, to go see Chris Brown today, those artists are pointing not at Michael Jordan. They're pointing at somebody else. And that's the point I'm making, where the tree, when we talk about coaching trees in the NFL and basketball and everything, there is a music tree of influence. He's at the top, bro. And that's the thing that I think that the gravity of what that influence is almost immeasurable. It's immeasurable. Darwin then Illa.
Thank you. So I'm going to settle this debate by listing off a couple things. First of all, I'm going to start off this. This is probably going to kill it, and this probably don't even need me to go down the list. I'm just going to pose a question. I'm going to pose it to True, since he haven't really said much. If you put 100 people in a room, 100 men and women, let's just say men for the sample size. Put 100 men in a room. Door A is to be like Michael Jackson. Door B is to be like Michael Jordan. What is the likelihood that most people exit out of door B versus door A?
I think they're going to heavily lean towards Michael Jordan. That's
okay.
Without end.
All right.
Not to co-sign your point.
I didn't ask you to co-sign. That's not what I asked you. I just asked you when they want to be like something, when they want to mimic something, they're going to go out of door B. Okay, that's the first point. Thank you. Appreciate that. The reason why I asked you, True, because I know you, just based off listening to you, I know you're really big on critical thinking. You're not going to try to explain the answer first. You're going to actually give the answer, which people struggle with. I want to first say people are more likely to have, I did say people were more likely to have Jordan shoes and apparel in their closet than Michael Jackson CD or glitter glove in their house. People don't just remember Jordan. They wear him. Michael Jackson made people dance. I get that, but Jordan made people shop. More people own a Jumpman. You know what a Jumpman logo? There's a little Jordan sign on your shoe. More people own a Jumpman logo than anything with Michael Jackson name on it. Michael Jackson had fans. Jordan built customers. People don't buy Michael Jackson gloves every year. They buy they buy Jordans every release. You see people standing outside of malls, just sitting there some overnight at the mall just so they can make sure they get a raffle ticket so they can purchase a pair of Jordans. You don't if Michael Jackson's song come out, you don't see people standing outside of. It's digital. Let's just scratch that from the record. Michael Jackson image was iconic. Don't get me wrong. I agree with that. But Jordan's logo became a uniform that not only does the Bulls wear, that college uniforms, everything that you can think of from all across sports, not just basketball. I'm talking about hockey, baseball, football, golf, you name it. Michael Jackson sold albums, Jordan sold identity. People wanted to be Michael Jordan. People were mimicking his moves. I would say people would mimic Michael Jordan's moves than they would mimic Michael Jackson. We can argue that another time. You're more likely to see someone wearing Jordan than carrying Michael Jackson merchandise. Jordan legacy is visible every day on shoes, hoodies, hats, shirts. Michael Jackson was the king of pop, but Jordan became the king of sportswear.
One question.
Jordan turned athletic greatness into an everyday customer brand. Michael Jordan's influence is heard, but Jordan's influence is worn. It's something that you do. It gets your body to do something. It gets you to spend money, do something, versus just listening with your ear. And I'll rest my case.
Yeah, I got to read Super Chat. Before I read, this is on outro. This is on outro. I'm going to read these Super Chats real quick, but I want to throw this person out there and see if the argument about what people wear and how much there's lining up in stores and everything to wear this apparel and shoes on an annual seasonal basis and 3-4 times a year looking for new releases. That's not the person I'm going to list is Jesus Christ. And I would argue that this whole fashion argument goes out the window because Jesus's impact obviously is way bigger than Jordan. And yeah, there's clearly not a bunch of people in the hood who's wearing this stuff and it's the memorabilia and the memorabilia. It's the person, the idea, what they stood for. And what I'm arguing again is there can be people who are bigger than the people who influence the current modern fashion. And I'm like, and I think these are two guys that are personally. Now, with that said, Rack Media, Rakai Media, thank you for 5. Michael Jackson was and still is a brand. Thank you for the 5. Skinny, Jeff, don't forget Sam Cooke. Yeah, man. Shout out to the legends for sure. Thank you for the $2. Dub Will, $4.99. Michael Jackson is so powerful. He totally took over the stream. You're absolutely right. He just completely stole the show with what we originally had. And I loved it.
I thought it was Michael Jordan who stole the show.
Charles Butler, thank you for the $10. I love Truth Talk. Blessings, Kings. Oh, my dad pulled up. Appreciate you, Pops, for the $50. I will always say thank you for being one of the greatest things that's ever happened to a father. Love, Elder Jeff. Appreciate you, Pops, for watching. I know he's asleep by now. Marcus Evans, thank you for the $5. What's up? What's good, brother Jeff and the brothers on the panel? No more simps on the panel. I appreciate you. Willie, $5. Here's the nail in the coffin. Which is bigger, music or basketball? Case closed. Grove Talk, just for fun. Michael Jackson question: Off the Wall or Thriller? Woo!
Oh, that's a simple answer.
What you gonna say?
Hold on. In response to the previous chat, super chat with Willie, the conversation wasn't about music or basketball. I like how they try to spin it. It was about music and sports.
And which is more
influential? I keep having to catch y'all from trying to move the goalposts. It's funny that y'all are doing that, but go ahead.
So again, Illa's point is going to stand. One is more universal than the other. Soccer is more influential than basketball. I don't know why we're even
enough.
Yeah,
if we're talking about the world, yeah, but I thought we were talking about improving our community. and I thought
Bro, don't do that. Don't conflate
sorry.
topics. Don't
No,
conflate topics. When we talked
What?
about global impact, we said music is obviously bigger, and we know why.
Nobody said anything about improving our community.
Because we was talking about the Spend That song. I thought we was like,
No. You are. Oh my God, he's Mr. Fantastic because that was a stretch. Wow,
I came
you are
in
my
late.
favorite superhero. God damn, I didn't know this. Where
All right,
is Johnny Storm?
Growth Talk, $10 just for fun. A Michael Jordan. So back, hold on. Michael, hold on. Off the Wall or Thriller?
Okay, so let's break this down. Off the Wall is a better album sonically. The only reason Thriller exists is because white folks were so upset and so racist that their little white kids were listening to Michael Jackson en masse that the Grammy voting board, and if you don't know how that works, radio, music producers, executives, they all vote in order to see who gets a Grammy. They shut Michael out. Michael was up for like 8 Grammys. He got 1 and he was pissed. So the whole reason you have Thriller, it was his revenge album. But Off the Wall sonically is a better album.
More soulful.
It's the tale. It's much more soulful. It's more of an R&B album. It's true to who Michael was. Michael said, nah, they're trying to pigeonhole me. So I'm going to make an album that the Grammys can't deny. I'm going to start making pop records. Then the first record off the Wall was The Girl Is Mine because he needed to get a Beatle in order to get mainstream airplay. And then you had Beat It and Thriller and so on and so forth. So Off the Wall is a better album sonically. Thriller is the greatest and highest selling recorded album in the history of recorded music.
Yeah.
Can I say something in terms of impact? I just want to make this last point. The
It's my turn, man.
Hold on, let me finish the super chat. Willie, thank you for the 5. The real comparison is, do more people buy Jordan shoes than people listen to Michael Jackson music? The answer is unequivocally the latter. I didn't even think of that comparison. Dr. J, thank you for the Dr. AJ, thank you for the $2, the record scratch. And then Willie as well, $2. Music is 100 times bigger than sports globally. And then last but not least, Darth Baby, that $4.99. If Mike was still alive, he'd be the only person with 1 billion followers on Instagram.
2 billion.
Oh, 2 billion. He'd have 2 billion. Illa, go ahead, bro.
I'm gonna say this. You made some real like super duper like frivolous arguments. You said something about you said that I don't know, all young boys want to play basketball. Young boys want to play basketball. They want to play football. Hold on. They want to play basketball. They also want to play football. And some of them want to be rappers too. Some of them want to be artists. So it's not about young boys want to be athletes. Young boys want to be lit. And the 3 lit jobs in the black community is either got a he said, what Biggie say? Either sling a crack
rock or you got a wicked jump shot.
Like, this is not new concepts. Like, young men always want to play football, but we learn about 15, 16, everybody's not doing that. So it's not just basketball. They want to play sports, period. I know some young cats who want to be a skateboarder. Anything that's athletic or gets us some type of notoriety, young black men want to do. To say it's just basketball, there's no way you can prove that. Because in the South, football is bigger than basketball.
Absolutely.
But North basketball is bigger. There's more courts than open fields. So that's why a lot of ballers come from urban areas like LA, Chicago, New York, Boston. They're in the South too, but the South produce them D1 football players.
Real quick, fella, and Darwin,
but the point was, it's not just basketball. Young men want to do a lot of shit.
Darwin, I want you to hop in, and then True, I want you to tag back in because I know you didn't get to speak much. Because I know it's already 2 hours and I'm getting hungry myself. Darwin, go ahead and jump in.
I just want to make this last point. So, and I'm gonna keep talking about influence because that's what I initially argued. Sports and music. Somehow we put it down to an individual person. I'm fine with that. I can still win an argument here. And the way I want to win this argument is say that if you take a particular player, for example, let's just look at LeBron James. I've seen a player move from one market to the next and completely damn near bankrupt an entire city just because he's traded or decided to leave the city of Cleveland and cause damn near an economic collapse. That has to do with resources for people in the neighborhoods, businesses, and all that stuff. I've never seen anybody in the music industry be able to do that. So by that argument
Bro.
alone, I'm finna land. By that argument alone, the impact a player has not only on making you make decisions in your life, but just on the overall economy and the market has an impact on shutting down businesses or even launching business. I've seen the city of Cleveland, Ohio turn into a ghost town when they took down his poster off of a brick wall. And this is coming from somebody who was born in Cleveland, Ohio. And I'll rest my case.
Okay, I'm gonna wake it back up.
Because I know you're gonna go in.
I'm not gonna hold.
No. I know you're gonna go in, but I'm gonna say, Darwin, with your argument, if you didn't know how Michael Jackson impacted geopolitics, I highly recommend it, including the Soviet Union. And I'm gonna leave it at that. That alone is go ahead, Lila, and then
and I'm gonna just say this. That was another frivolous ass argument, because what the hell does the politics in a small ass city of Cleveland got to do with a global influence like Michael Jackson? What you just spoke about was the consumerism and the niche interest of Americans. That have nothing to do with the price of tea in China, and I digress.
I disagree. I disagree. I did not talk about anything global.
You're comparing city impact.
Yeah.
Cleveland and all cities, not New York City. Cleveland.
I'm comparing the Soviet Union, bro. I don't think
it doesn't make a difference.
It does make a difference.
Y'all want somebody to respond to y'all or what?
You're responding to us and we're responding
to
him.
challenge what I said, and then when I wanted to respond to him, it's like a three-way conversation. I can only punch one of y'all at a time.
Man,
you ain't landing no punches all day. You missing.
No, listen. All I'm saying is,
I'm ready over here. I can get hit yet.
Again,
so we
what I said before, and I'm glad Real Dope Daddy exposed that y'all lack the ability.
He ain't landing a punch.
This whole center of the panel has just sat and got.
It's over.
Y'all know.
I can't even get a thought out without y'all.
Y'all know those guys in the hood who think they can fight. You know when they be doing the videos and they be like, "Yo, you think you can fight?" And they be like, "Yeah, show me how you hold your hands." That's what Illa doing. Illa think he can fight right now. It's not doing what you think it is. But
no one in the chat is co-signing you right now, sir.
What am I? No, hold on. Because he think he's saying something. Elaborate on that. Make that make sense.
This is the thing, right?
Try to save you.
Make that make sense.
Yeah, got you. So Illa, so I would argue, right, that I'm not gonna make it, but in your last point that you made, right, it seems like you've shifted into the frame that I created. Now, if we shift into that frame, you're going to lose. However, if we're talking about global,
bro, you're talking YouTube.
You cut me off.
You finish it. You said a bunch of bullshit. Make your point.
Let him finish.
You ain't saying
nothing. Y'all forgot I was in the middle of making my point.
Y'all be trying to. I hate this. What I don't like.
We talking about basketball. Come on, bro.
I hate fake, deep, smart shit, bro. You ain't said nothing, bro. You ain't said nothing. That's why
you would not have had to cut me off.
You're not saying nothing. You're not saying anything.
You off as a
nice
defense mechanism,
and we like when you're cool. You're not saying anything.
Your best defense is to cut me off, so I would keep going if I was you. I'm just saying, it's a flawless defense.
You got it.
It's a flawless defense. All right.
Well, like I said before, I've seen players in terms of transferring from one market to the next, and that's a club, a professional club, destabilize economy. And it impacted people. It impacted direct impact on people. That's what I'm talking, and that's why I say it. I'm glad Real Dope Dad exposed influence, and I would argue that I was able to make my point using influence and impact at the same time. I haven't seen nobody do that yet.
Yeah, Darwin, real quick. So what I was saying with Illa was, it seemed like he shifted into the frame that I created. Now, if he does that, he's going to lose, right? Now, when we talk about
global, the frame you created? What's the frame you created? I need to know that because y'all say a lot of fake deep shit.
That was next.
Explain that.
What is the next word? Got you. So if we're talking about global impact and influence, y'all got me. I'm not even gonna make that argument. I wouldn't make that argument. But the frame that I created was what Black Americans do. Black American boys specifically.
No, that's hold on, you just did that. Like just now you made that.
No. That was
you're full of shit. Did you? Come on, bro. You didn't say that earlier.
Come on,
you just lost the argument.
Illa, come on.
You can't take that out. Let him finish. Y'all can't take it for shit. Just take it out.
Let him finish. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I recently made the argument, right? And I was like, yo, y'all talking about this, y'all talking about that. Y'all told me I was talking about global. Cool, I can't fight with that. I wouldn't fight with that. I think y'all just correct when it comes to that. But if we're talking about the impact on black boys specifically, right? When he shifted into my frame and said, no, black boys want to do this, black boys want to do that, black boys want to do this, then I can make that argument, and you're going to lose on influence when we talk about Michael Jackson versus Michael Jordan. So if I were you, I'd back out of that frame.
You said that black boys want to play basketball the most, and I said black boys want to play basketball, football, and they want to be entertainers. What the hell is you talking about? See, y'all be thinking y'all saying some shit. You're not. Don't let this over-aggression make you feel like I'm crazy. I know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. That's why I can come out so quick. Y'all take mad long to say shit and it don't be landing like that. I don't need super chats. I don't need people to like me or DM me and none of that shit. When I say something, it's going to land because I thought about it 20 years ago. I didn't just think about some shit to sound deep in the moment because I want to get in the conversation. I had this conversation with myself before I even knew you niggas. That's the difference, but I digress.
Man.
So I'm glad. Hold on, real dope. I'm glad to hear that we all agree that people are more inclined to get into sports than they are into music.
No, they are not. The majority of people, see, this is why sports is so big. And sometimes, Darwin, you say things before you actually think them through. Like you're doing like a lot of verbal diarrhea out of your mouth. Let's break this down. The NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, hockey, all of those things would not be popular if everybody had that type of skill to play it. It is easy, especially when you're starting as a child, to pick up an instrument and have that discipline over time. There are more professional musicians, artists, writers, producers, composers than there are athletes combined. So, no,
that wasn't my
statistically,
argument.
You're wrong, though. But no, there's no way. What is your
see
argument?
What you just did? My argument wasn't that there are more professional athletes than there are professional musicians. My argument was that more people would get into sports than music. Now, whether they come a professional or not, that's your argument. I'm arguing that more people would actually pick up a basketball, football, soccer, whatever, baseball before they pick up a microphone and try.
I heard your argument and I just responded. You just didn't like the response.
I think that
I'm arguing that they would do that way more often. The likelihood of them doing that is drastically higher.
Can I ask you a question, Don?
And picking up a microphone and recording themselves and listening.
They cut you off.
There's nothing nobody can say.
I agree with that, Darwin. That's true. But can I ask you this, Darwin? Are more people?
Oh, hold on. Do you say that's true?
That aspect, yeah. I don't have my ego ain't big like y'all. I don't have a problem saying losing an argument don't take nothing away from my life. That should mean something to y'all. It don't mean nothing to me. But let me just say this: more people play. You think more people have played sports than have listened to music?
No, that's not what I said.
No, I didn't say you did. I didn't say you did. I'm asking you a different question.
No.
I didn't say you said that. I said you were right. What you just said was true. So I'm asking you a different question. Because music is something you listen to from the time you're born to the time you die. Sports have a moment where you stop playing it. There's a shelf life for sports and your involvement in it. Now, you may watch it, but you're not going to participate. You're going to listen to music forever. So what I'm saying is, do you think more people play sports or listen to music?
No, I would agree to you that more people listen to music than play it. But we're talking about impacting and influencing what you choose to do in your life.
But did you know that hip hop made Jordans popular? Go figure.
I don't believe.
Listen. I'm gonna let y'all live, man.
I don't believe.
It don't matter what you believe.
That was a rap song.
Can I respond?
I digress, though.
I don't believe that hip hop made Jordans popular. I believe that Michael Jordan himself made the shoe popular when he put it on.
And niggas in the hood and rappers started wearing it.
I watched the movie. I think it was Air Jordan. Was it Air Jordan? With Ben Affleck and
it's just Air.
Air. When I watched it wasn't the shoe. It was the person wearing the shoe.
It was. But certain people, but hip hop is the first. Hip hop made Jordans, and hip hop is like they kind of rose synonymously. Like they kind of go hand in hand.
I will agree to you that hip hop had an impact on
a huge impact.
But I do believe that the popularity was already there before somebody made a song about it.
Let me ask you this. music could lead people to play basketball more than basketball lead people to want to play music.
Absolutely.
I would say sports can lead more black and brown people out of the hood.
No, not black
and music.
That's not true because everybody can't play that. Come on, bro.
You literally, in the beginning of this argument, Darwin, made a reference to say, wait. Can you stop hyping your own self up?
Nah, he
Hold on. How could Jeff can do it, but I can't do it?
Good,
Hold
Darwin.
on, real quick. Hold on. True has been silent. True has been silent for 20 minutes when I've tried to give him the mic. So True, feel free to respond to Mont's shenanigans, Darwin's argument, anything that you want, anything you want to speak to, brother.
They're entertaining. I think I see what Darwin's doing, and I could definitely tell he covets sports. You can tell that the man has definitely got a heart for sports, and in respect to that, but he's wrong. You said people, so I'm gonna stick right there. If we're talking about people, we talk about female and male alike. It's not a professional thing, in my opinion. The relationship with music supersedes generations and sex. It does not do the same thing with sports. There is men and women alike who interact with music way before they interact with sports. And they live majority of their life interacting with music and probably have no correlation to sports. This is what's unfortunate to our community, is that we hyper focus on the performance of sports on a professional level because of the celebrity behind it. But if you spend time with cultural people, it's not uncommon for them to learn piano, learn clarinet, learn violin. These things supersede borders. For whatever freaking reason, we praise sports. It's kind of sad, actually. So you're wrong when it comes to the impact. Michael Jordan is one figure in the globe as far as, the NBA. And I can't take nothing from Mike because Mike did his thing.
At all.
Did his thing. But Michael Jackson, in my opinion, when you were talking, I don't think we even give Michael credit. Michael, in my opinion, humanized black people for the globe.
Yes.
Because
Period.
of Michael Jackson. Prior to Michael Jackson, he was in a racial divide, entertaining wise, but he opened up and broke barriers from him being a black man to where people interacted with black people off the strength that Michael is from the community, in my opinion. Michael Jordan never had that type of impact. He was great in laced up shoes with a ball in his hand. That's where that stopped. It almost hit the ceiling of where he performed. And that's not taking nothing from Michael Jordan, but Michael Jackson. Without Michael Jackson's impact, the world would look very different. Without Michael Jordan's impact, I think we would have somewhat of a okay lifestyle in a sense. I don't think Michael Jordan's existence is as prominent for people. Michael Jackson's existence is prominent. And
Ella, you on mute.
I got one question for you, True.
Great argument.
Here's my question. You was talking about impact and influence. What if I tell you that whenever you sell out a stadium on at any level, any player you can name, that more money is going to come from sports than a musical concert?
You out of your mind.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
You got to be high and out of your mind.
Hold on.
I'm
talking about on average.
No, but
I'm talking about one single instant. I'm talking about on average.
Let on hold.
On average, owners, I would say sports owners who own teams earn way more and generate way more revenue off of their players and the performance than artists who perform.
Bro, no. Wait. Calm down. Let the person with the resume handle this. Hi. Do you know what the Victory Tour was, Darwin?
No, explain it.
The Victory Tour happened right after Motown 25 when Michael Jackson debuted the Moonwalk. There was no Thriller Tour. I was at the Victory Tour Veterans Stadium. But do you know who backed the Victory Tour?
No.
Of course you know, because you didn't even know what it was. And I'm not talking Don King and Joe Jackson because that's movie shit. The guy behind the Victory Tour, he owned the New England Patriots. And he made more money off the Victory Tour than he did having his damn football team. What are you talking about? And there's a difference between stadiums and arenas.
Okay.
There's a difference between stadiums and open amphitheaters with 50,000 people. That does not happen, bro. Michael Jackson was selling out concerts before he ever stepped foot on it. Before he died, he sold out the O2 Arena in record time.
Listen, okay,
So no, you're
yeah,
statistically
true.
and financially.
You notice I
you're
said
loud and you're wrong.
on average, right? Instead of one instance. I will agree with Dave that there was a record high comparison sale as far as the music performance, but on a scale of average, if you look at the average on all, if you can combine all of the performance from music artists who had a concert in a stadium, arena, or whatever, versus all of the games played in sports. This is not just basketball. This is NFL. This is soccer. FIBA. This is baseball. Baby Ruth. This is all across the scale versus music. I fundamentally believe, as a person who minored in mathematics, that sports has grossed way more than music, which is why you see athletes getting paid $250 million
over years,
earning billions and billions of dollars per club.
Just to clarify, hold on, everybody, because I have a few super chats I got to read, and we're going to be wrapping things up. During the 97-98 season for the NBA, this was Bulls last year together. The league total revenue was $1.7 billion. Okay. Michael Jackson's tour that he died on before he could finish.
Tell him.
50-date tour.
Tell him.
Was estimated that it would have exceeded 1.5 billion. Okay.
You're still backpedaling into
there's no backpedaling.
There's no backpedaling.
The whole argument of what we've been trying to say is you're comparing apples to a marble.
Thank you.
Exactly.
That logic we all have.
Oh my God! Just take your L like a man.
$50 super chat, high tolerance, $50.
Can I just add this and I'm gonna digress.
How do y'all go to one instance again after I said on average as a collective?
Well, let's go to the average.
This is the thing, Darwin. I think the comparison is just laughable because you can't quantify the impact of music because music can make an impact whether the purchase is made or not. Niggas bought bootlegs and still was feeling the music and the artist never seen $1, but the impact was still
felt. You can make the same argument.
You're talking about consumerism. Being able to purchase something and watching an event is not the same as a musical experience. Like once you watch the event, it's over. You can listen to an album over and over and over. A basketball game, a football game is a once in a lifetime thing. It's a one moment and it's over. Music lives with you for a lifetime, bro. It's just a horrible comparison. You can't compare music based on record ticket sales. Like music existed before these leagues existed.
Well, then why did we go down the rabbit hole?
Hold on, everybody, because we got super chats, and I gotta make sure we cover our super
You
chats.
won, bro.
Yeah,
we in the era.
Why do we have the argument if you're saying we can't make the comparison? That doesn't make sense. The whole hour we just had
because I think music is a spiritual act. I don't think sports is spiritual. I think sports is very surface and very.
Let's just end it. Jeff, read the super chat. And let's just end it on this: that we agree to disagree because you can't make the comparison via Illosophica's latest point.
High tolerance, $50. Salute Jeff and the panel. Keep doing the work. From Delco to Dallas. Appreciate you for the $50 banger. $42.95, $5 NWA, Tupac, Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, NBA YoungBoy has more influence over our community than any athlete and Michael Jackson. Oh, Coach, shut up.
He just talking.
No, hold on. He's saying that our community, because people had to move it off the global scale and global historical scale to just the black community. Now we're reducing it to the black community, to the male black community. Appreciate you.
Exactly.
Willie again, $2. I'll put a bag on Illa versus Mott debate. That would be interesting. I wonder what that
3-0.
Well, when you look at the globalization of the point that I made,
might be sneaking in some good arguments now every now and then. So
you sneak them in there, but
where were they
them.
tonight?
I don't sneak them in. They come through the front door, loud as hell. I ain't sneaking in nothing.
Dub Will, $4.99. This
It's gonna be a whole lot of yelling.
This kills the music.
No,
this kills the music.
That's your way of conditioning the people to agree with you. I don't have to do none of that shit. Just show up. I ain't got to do none of that.
This kills the music versus sports impact argument. 99% of children in the U.S. learning English alphabet over a music melody. Case closed. Ouch. Marcus Evans again with the $5. My brother's on the panel. How do you feel about Darwin and Mont right now? Y'all sound frustrated, and I don't blame y'all. We feel fine. There's a combo of
I know Darwin. That's my brother.
Yeah. There's the part of me that knows that if you reduce the sample size to a very small group, I think they have a legitimate argument. I think the global argument, I think the historical argument, I think the test of time, and I think that the numbers just don't. I think it leans heavily skewed in one direction. I think it's fairly undeniable, but we could all agree to disagree. And I also think Darwin's trolling, but that's neither here nor there. Willie, $5. Michael Jordan made Jordans popular. Hip hop made them cost $200. Checkmate. That's true. Now, that's true. Edward again, thank you for the $5. Are there more black athletes than more entertainers?
No.
Probably.
No.
No, you got music, you got musicians, and you got actors.
Yeah. So no.
Even then, like how many actors and
professionals,
singers? Oh yeah, professionals. How many actual professional singers and actors are
maybe
there?
Professional?
Professional is not the league. The league.
Even the leagues, there ain't a lot of players in the leagues. A very elite group. Especially
but
NBA.
we reference Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley, Shaq. All these. This is 60 years worth of athletes where they're having hundreds of people in the league every year. So I'm like, that's way more than I think the entertainers we can name, if that makes sense. But that's a good question.
You might be right.
Question, Brother Jeff. How many L's does Darwin have tonight?
Don't nobody got the time to count that high. Next question. Thanks for your super chat.
Appreciate you, bro, for the $5. Edward again for the $5. Are there more black? Oh, we already answered that. Thank you again, sir. Informed one. Thank you. Great show. Y'all need to do this panel again, but please get back to the conscious convo and don't let someone derail the topic. I think we could do both, and I think that's the part of.
That's why y'all watch.
Yeah, and I don't think everybody wants us to talk about serious stuff all the time. I think we can cover anything that's trending, and I appreciate that. Ronald, $5, and then the owner of the Patriots lost money on the victory tour, which is why he had to sell the New England Patriots.
Okay, so this is the problem with people who weren't there and don't understand how business works. The entire tour was insured. It was a write-off. They lost no money. He sold the team because he wanted to sell the team. When you write something off and you're insured, you cash in on that insurance policy. But again, go off about what you think you know.
I know the YouTube customer service hung up on Darwin when he tried to argue to get his channel, but his arguments are true.
Damn. That's disrespectful. That was personal.
You don't deserve that. You don't deserve that, Darwin.
That's cold.
And he did it for $5. That's disrespectful.
You could at least
I can't go sign that.
You gotta get $50 like that. That's $100.
Hold on. Casual economist. If you send $50 or $100,
then you could talk like
that.
That's going straight to Darwin as it should be, because that was crazy work. That was uncalled for.
Disrespectful.
Landon, $5. Music is mass brainwashing with a beat. Why is this even a conversation? I don't know. I think that's why there's studies on it. In terms of how it influences and affects us with our sleep, our mental health, etc. Sheldon Williams, $5. Music's impact could save your soul. People go to church based on the music ministry. It's not just about the financial impact. Yeah.
Why do you think this music had an altar call? But again, talk to me about influence and impact.
Listen, man, this was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed and appreciated this. We absolutely got to make sure Mont and Illa is on the same panel at future discussions, because I just want to see what Mont will say.
What's that going to prove?
Why do you just want people to take L's for your entertainment?
I think that with Darwin, I think with Mont, I think with Darwin, and even with Obsidian sometimes, I think you guys bring out the best of people's creative arguments, because I think it gets dull when everybody agrees with the same thing. So I do think that, whether it's being a contrarian, playing devil's advocate, or really believing something different, I actually appreciate guys like you for putting on. And again, this was a good argument. It was a bad. I mean, it was, you lost, but it was a real argument nonetheless that Michael Jordan he does have an unusually high level of impact, especially within our community. And I absolutely agree with that. And he's a global icon as well, for sure.
But Jeff, just remember for the record, I never introduced Michael Jordan to this conversation. That's what I think Illa did. So he's responsible for introducing Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson.
You want to
hold on, all around your L. You might as well love Michael Jackson. You move around your L.
Let's clap it up for Darwin.
Hold on, real quick.
Let
Let
me
me just say one
He got
thing.
the Mamba mentality. See, that's that basketball influence.
I just
right
want to
there.
Illa. Are you a different animal and the same beast?
Can I say one thing, bro, without being in? So only thing I want to say is you made a statement about moving it from a global argument to a more isolated argument. I think that was disingenuous because the whole premise of the reason why we was arguing was not from a global stance. It was because of the black people and how it impacts. So it was more local than global. You tried to put that on us.
Clarify, the reason why it went macro level was because of what Dave was trying to explain, is that the reason why music is so impactful is because it's a universal language. We actually played 2 clips that's made that exact argument, and that's why they were saying people could listen to Bad Bunny and not understand the language.
Spanish.
So we were saying that music's impact is far more expansive. There's a reason why they're investing in it. It is influential, and saying that it doesn't actually matter, have an influence. We're saying the influence is so great that it's cross-generational, it's cross-cultural, and that was how that argument came to be. So that wasn't like a random spinoff. It was actually tied in from the very beginning. But guys, I actually appreciate it. Why don't y'all let everybody know
I think that kind of works against your argument too.
Where they can find and support you, because it's late and it's 2.5 hours.
Chip's about to have a hunger headache.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
He's hungry.
Yeah, so Darwin, Illa, Dave, Mont, and True, why don't y'all let everybody know where they can find and support you and your brands?
I'm on right now. I'm on all over social media like I've been. I spend more time on TikTok. I'm gonna start posting a little bit more on Facebook and Instagram. I took a break because I was on a holiday. I'm sorry, I was on vacation. I don't use holiday. Fuck's wrong with me.
You British?
I was on vacation visiting
He
family.
was on holiday.
I watched a movie earlier and said that. That's why I said that. But yeah, find me on TikTok. I go live. I run live panels on there, and they do really well. We be talking about a lot of stuff. So just name Darwin McPherson. If you want to find me, just look up my name on different platforms. You can find me. Appreciate it for support.
All right, what about you, Illa?
Philosophical Radio on YouTube, at Philosophical on Instagram. You already know what it is. Hit me up, you're.
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah, all platforms at The Business Bully. Dave Anderson, Morning News, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon. Doing phenomenally well. And of course, my Wealth Masterclass is this Sunday, 2 p.m. Come through if you want to actually run a business and understand how business works.
All right, Mont.
Mont, that's
Real
you.
Dope Daddy on Instagram. Everybody hates mine on. Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, you're here.
Yeah, no.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me? Yeah, Real Dope Daddy on Instagram. Everybody hates mine on YouTube.
And True.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. You can find me on IG, same way spelled, True Table. IG, YouTube. I'm here on this panel when requested on the Lapeef Network, usually Thursday nights. So appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And everybody, if you're currently still watching, thank everybody that's tuned in, that's liked. If you have not liked it, please make sure you do. Thank you. Shout out to everybody that super chatted. Y'all showed love tonight for sure. And we ask that y'all continue to do that. We want to continue to have very fun, lively panel discussions. If y'all have people that y'all think would be a really good addition and would add to the conversation, feel free to kind of let us know, any of us individually to know. And then Charles Butler, the last super chat of the evening. This was refreshing. God bless all of y'all. Yes, LOL. Light skin took a loss today. LOL. Blessings. So yeah, man, everybody, if you haven't done so, make sure that you subscribe and follow every person that you see on the screen. Make sure you share this video stream with at least 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 5 people. Y'all say that y'all love and enjoy this type of work. We hope that y'all enjoyed this. Have a good evening, and we'll see y'all on the other side. Peace.